to have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe-to-toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs 5. It's episode number 6. It's been a wild ride, I've got to be honest. I'm going to call it out from the get-go. I watched the stream back from episode 5. I do need to apologise for certain language. I was having a bad afternoon. Tonight, I'm hosting. So as long as the rest of these 3 are in good behaviour, then I won't need to say too much. We'll find out. I can't imagine it's going to go as swimmingly as it goes in my mind. We'll find out. Guys, before I come and find out how Sava, Lubo and Stelios are doing, we have to get some admin out of the way. As we do, guys, it takes nothing to do this, but please smash the like button if you enjoy the content, or if you think you're going to enjoy it. Maybe hold off on the like, but at some point, we need to see the like button. We are going to hit an aggressive, audacious target. We've asked for 1,000 the last two streams. Tonight, can we move the needle up a little bit? Can we go to 1,050? I'm not going to be too audacious, but just 1,050 is the target between now and just gone 10 o'clock. So if you can do that for us, we really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. You should have done. It's free to do, but all it does is it just lets you know when we bring up content. And by the way, we've had a chat backstage over the last couple of days. There's going to be so much more content coming on the channel from each of us as individuals, as well as the clips and everything else. So make sure you hit the subscribe. Notification bell button should be pushed and squeezed. And also keep the comments fresh and fast and thick and flowing. However, at the same time, do be respectful, because it's just the opinions of people that don't really matter. Right, so if they really offend you, just keep them polite. You attack the argument, not the person. That's all we ask. By the way, also, guys, last thing I'll ask before I get over to the guys is, if you are people that are not watching this live, maybe even if you are, but you'd rather watch it later tomorrow when you're out walking the wife, or when the dog's walking you, or whatever, but you'd rather listen to it in audio, or you'd rather see it in podcast, but not via Apple, you can not via YouTube, then you can check us out on Spotify, where you can watch it. You can check us out on Apple as well, where you can hear, and Amazon and all that stuff as well. Links are in the description. Please do keep the engagement coming, guys. It really helps. A lot to talk about, guys. We've got the PSG tournament, or the final tomorrow, or sorry, on Wednesday. We're going to be dealing with that later. Before then, we have obviously the transfer news, views and clues. There's a lot going on at Tottenham, as there is in the Premier League right now. Of course, that always leads back to certain people above the playing squad. And one of the topics tonight is about whether or not maybe there's evidence to suggest, maybe we're inferring things here, but maybe Thomas Frank isn't that impressed with what he's walked into. Maybe he's not that on board with the Johan Lange model of talent ID. We've got a lot to get through, so lock yourselves in. Saba, how you doing, mate? Great to see you. How you been? You okay?
I'm all right. Yeah, 21 days to go. I'm excited, aren't you? So, yeah, I'm good.
I am. Lubo, mate, how you been, buddy?
Good, thanks. For me, 2 days to go. That's
you're flying out there, aren't you? Going out to the game, yeah?
Wednesday morning. Yeah. So looking forward to that.
Are you avoiding all possible contact with PSG fans, by the way, or are you getting amongst it with them?
Well, what we're doing, we're flying into Milan. About 9 o'clock. We're hiring a car. It's a 4-hour drive. So we'll drive and we'll park up early at the stadium, and then we'll get a bus back to the fan zone. And enjoy the afternoon, and then on to the match. So, looking forward. Listen, I'm looking forward to seeing Spurs. It's a competitive match. Am I looking forward to the 90 minutes? Can't say it. I think there'll be easier games this season, let's say.
100%. Stel, what's crack-a-lacking with you, mate? How are you?
Good. Thank you, everyone, for watching once again. Protests are back again, ole. Protests are back again, ole. You haven't even started the season. You love it.
I'm not exactly sure whereabouts in the show we're going to bring that up. I think that's probably the second or third topic, guys. Let's get into it, guys. As I say, smash the like button and keep the comments thick and fast, but be polite and everything else, and we're good. Let's start, guys, with like where we're at, but ultimately a lot has changed, at least in the kind of, I don't know, in the ITK space, the likes of Romano, Ornstein, all confirming that in the last 24 hours or so, a lot of energy going towards Tottenham, moving for a man that, I'll be honest, 3 days ago, I first saw the link for, and I had the audacity, you know me, you know what I'm like, I'll take any link and talk about it. But when I heard that one, I dismissed it. In fact, I'll show you exactly what I did. I played this particular sound on my own channel.
No chance this happens and you wanna know why. Last time I checked, baby pigs don't fly.
Exactly what I gave credibility of the Savinho links, right? And
What the hell was that?
That should be on the big screen at the stadium at the end of the transfer window.
That would be amazing on the big
no,
screen.
I'll talk about Rodrigo. I'll talk about anyone else. But when that one came up, I said, nah, I'm not ever going to be that shameless. I gave it that regard. But it's, you know what? It's true. Sava, how big of a deal would this signing be? How much credibility do you give it? And is it the start of potentially a very strong finish to the window?
Well, we have to give it a lot of credibility because we've actually bid for him. So this isn't, you know, as Daigle says, this isn't buzzword bingo. We're not monitoring. We're not thinking about. We're not pursuing. We've actually opened talks with Manchester City. It would be a massive deal. This would be a very, very good deal. And I'm surprised that more people aren't actually really, really happy for this. But it's the same old, isn't it? Until we see them in a Spurs shirt, we're all going to massively have that bit in our stomach that says this isn't happening. But if they go and get this done, I can't imagine anyone's going to complain. This is a really good player. This is a really, really good player that changes the dynamic of how we attack. And dare I say it, apologies for how cringe. He's a Spurs player. This is what we used to have. Quick, exciting wingers who like to beat their man and get people off their seat. Mate, I'm all for it. Is it the start of a good end to the window? It bloody well needs to be, doesn't it? Is it? I don't know. But yeah, why not? Him and Eze and someone else. Sod it. Let's go big. Yeah, let's do it.
Lubo, let me come to you and ask you. There's lots of rumours out that Tottenham have essentially. I mean, we're going to come to that story a bit later on, the meat and bones on it. But in a nutshell, that Tottenham are willing to go bigger than probably the value. That we've essentially got their attention is the best way of describing it, right? The best way of describing it, which suggests monetarily that we kind of picked up the phone and said, "Any chance? How about if we offer you something around there?" Before we get into what that looks like, which is the second segment of the show. Do you think Savinho in and of himself is that much of a needle mover that would justify spending the sorts of numbers that are being pushed around, which is, we're talking 50 million upwards, right? 55, 60 million, something like that. Some people are saying 70 million for a guy who Manchester City bought from their own sister club for 25, 30 million quid only 12 months ago. And whilst he had a good season, it wasn't a sensation. He wasn't like he absolutely slapped it out of the park. How big of a deal, how big of a signing, and what's the correct valuation for that in your mind, mate?
To be honest with you, Sean, I agree with Sam. I think he got me out of my seat watching him last season, and he's not even the Spurs player. He's a cracking player. He's direct. He's quick. Goes at players. This is what we want. This is what we need. This is, you know, this takes us away from the really slow, monotonous build-up that allows defences to the opposition to get back into a system, get back into a shape very quickly, because we take 30 passes to get into their third. So this for me would be brilliant. I see a report, Sky Sports, that Cavill, can't think of his surname, has reported in the last hour that City don't want to sell. So I don't know. Who knows? Would it be? Listen, be a really good buy for Spurs. What's his worth? What's his worth? It's like buying a house. If you really like that house, if you have to overpay a bit, you'll overpay to buy it. So for me, you know,
Or if your own house is burning down, right? Then and you haven't got insurance, then you might have to overpay for a piece of shit. Like you might have to pay a little bit more, like an emergency dentist on a Sunday night, rather than getting an appointment because Tottenham right now are struggling, right?
We're struggling big time. I mean, where the goals are going to come from, as I said on the Sav show yesterday, you know, what the odds. One of the guys came back and said Saturday for a 0-0 draw is 14-1. I mean, they're good odds at the moment. With Savinho in the team, that would drop the odds dramatically. So what do we pay? We pay what we've got to pay to get him, because we are desperately short of forward players. And I know a lot of people have said he played right wing last season. I think he played right wing just to facilitate Doku on the left. He did play left side for Girona. So for me, he just slots straight into the left-hand side. And that just leaves us really talking about. Frank has actually said he's not going to get another left back. He's happy with the cover he's got, which is Udogie, Spence, and Davis. So for me, that just leaves a 10 to buy in the window. So for me, get Savinho if it costs a bit more. If it costs, I mean, allegedly they've got it at 50 million euros, which is about 44 million pounds. What are they going to do? You know, if they go to 60 or 70, so be it. You know, as I say, all we want as fans, we want the talent on the pitch. You know, our assets shouldn't be in the bank; they should be on the pitch. So for me, if they spend a bit more and he's on the pitch, fantastic. I'll be delighted, and it'll be well done to the team if they buy him.
So let me come to you, mate. So Saba was making the point, I think last night, that he put out a couple of polls on his channel that were essentially, he said, "Is everyone happy with Savinho?" And am I wrong here, Saba? He said like it was like 20% were people that weren't happy with him. Is that right?
From 2.7k who voted, 12% said no. But so 12% isn't high, but of 2,700 people, we're talking about over 300 people that are Spurs fans have said no to Savinho.
So I asked the same question on the show I just finished, and it was, I don't know how many votes there were. It's probably not as many as that, but like a decent chunk, and it was 5% that was unhappy. Still, how do you feel, mate? As someone that that is looking for more from the ownership, is Savinho someone that ticks that box?
I'm 50-50, guys. I'm 50-50, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I don't believe anything until they're wearing the shirt. I've said it many a time. For 5 years, not 5 years, that's bollocks. For the last 2 years, I started saying that. I'm tired of being led up the garden path and being told this is going to happen, that's going to happen. But he said it, I don't care what they say. None of them have the credibility they make out they do. None of these journalists do. So if he signs for us, then I'll believe it. But until now, it's a big story, bit of gossip. Let's see what happens. Why I'm on the fence with it is because at Girona, he was fantastic, like a proper baller, a real dribbler. And there was an end product. 1 in every 2 games, there was a goal and assist. This guy was the real up-and-coming deal. Man City, the drop-off was quite big in terms of goals and assists. Now, there could be many factors for that, right? There's many factors for it. But he didn't replicate what he did at Girona. So I don't know whether that's because he needs to bed into the Premier League more, or it wasn't quite the right fit for him at City because City didn't have the best of seasons, or whatever it may be. I don't know. If Frank and Spurs can get Savinho playing like he did at Girona, this would be an absolutely fantastic signing for Tottenham. This guy will be a star. He'll be a star at Spurs because I saw him at Girona. He was the real deal. It reminds me a bit of Anthony. Anthony at Ajax was quality, like absolutely brilliant. Came to Man United. The drop-off is very similar. If you look at games played, goals, assists, and you look at them for their first season in the Premier League, they both had a similar drop-off from what they did in Ajax and Girona. So I think it all comes down to what Savinho we get and what Frank can do with him. So I'm 50-50. If we can get him back to what he was, unbelievable. What he could end up being the best player we've got. He could end up being the best player we've got.
Can I ask you
sorry, Fab, just super quick. Isn't he? If we're looking for someone that can nurture that guy, do you still have a hesitation whether Thomas Frank is the guy to do that?
No, I don't have a hesitation with the coach. I don't know why there was that drop off. You see, was it down to coaching? Was it down to adapting to the Premier League? Was it down to Man City having an average season? Was it down to him playing too much on the right? There's so many factors. I don't know, but the Savinho at Girona was brilliant, and I remember saying, "Get Savinho." I remember saying, "Get Savinho." Whoever gets him is going to be laughing, and he ended up going to Man City because, like you said, he's part of the City group, so no one else was going to get him at that price. So it depends. It depends. So I'm not against it. Far from it. I'm on that fence. Let's see. I don't know.
Can I just throw in there though? First of all, I'd say that I think everyone at Man City last year struggled. I feel like he wasn't walking into the Man City of the years before that had been winning leagues easily. And I think the difficulty is he had moved from the left to the right. And if you actually look at what Pep Guardiola asked for from his wingers, it isn't the goal output. Pep Guardiola, when he plays, he knows, let's be fair, every time someone plays against Man City, they go to a low block, don't they? Everyone goes to a low block and says, break us down, right? Which means that players like Savinho, Doku, whoever it is, they spend so much time doubled up on, so much time trying to break through 10 men rather than what he was doing at Girona, so to speak. I actually think that he would be perfect for us here because we're not going to be a team that's total domination of the ball under Thomas Frank. And I think if you've got Doku, Savinho and a number 10, I think we're going to be more on the transition. And I think that could be frightening with his pace. And somebody sent me all his stats earlier from first of all, that year at Girona, he was literally top of every single stat for any 21 and under.
He was phenomenal at Girona. Brilliant. Right? Absolutely brilliant.
Bellingham. And if you actually look at his stats for last year, and this is the thing with stats, this is the key thing with stats. If you purely go on the baseline of the number of goals scored, sure. If you actually
I went on goal assist, GA goals and assists.
No, I know, but he actually got 13, 14 assists across the whole campaign for Man City. But
so what? Can I just explain what I did? I looked at the number of games he played at Girona, number of plays against Man City, and the total GA, and there was a drop off. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, of course. But my point here is that when you actually go just beneath that a little bit, nearly everything else, he was one of the top metrics in Europe for beating men, ball carries. And we've got a manager now that if you look what he did with Tony, you look what he did with Watkins, Wissa and Buemo, he's got a history of getting players who don't score tons and tons of goals and getting them to score tons and tons of goals. For me, I just think he'd be everything I think he's everything we're missing. And you've got to remember, we don't play the same way as City. City must be extremely frustrating sometimes to play for them with everybody behind the ball. Everybody behind the ball every game. But listen, I think
just quickly, like these people that are saying he doesn't score enough, he doesn't assist enough. If you just go back just one step back, and this is when he was at Man City, by the way, not when he was balling it at Girona. These stats here are the things you should look for when a player that you think via the eye test is contributing things that don't necessarily materialize in G or A. So shot creating actions is things that he's done in the move, but he's not necessarily responsible for the key pass or for the goal or for the shot. He might be 2 steps back, but these are actions that have led in the move to things that have resulted in a shot or a goal or whatever else. And if you look at those things, this is when he was at Man City. When I think that Man City, you can make the argument, was like the lesser of his best performances. Look how many 90 plus percentage points there are. These are things that he's doing that are not necessarily reflected in his output. So when people say he's not an output merchant, he doesn't have to be. But what he's doing with his take-ons, what he's doing with his dead passes, what he's doing with his defensive actions, what he's doing with his fouls drawn, his dead ball passes, all that stuff, these are the reasons why he's going to create the value, even if they're not necessarily reflected in goals or assists. And I just wanted to kind of call that up because a lot of people are saying he's not worth it because he doesn't get the G and the A. Sometimes the G and the A can go elsewhere, but the G or the A wouldn't happen if it wasn't for people like him that are part of the build-up to the play.
I agree. I think it's quality. This will be the best winger we've signed since
Forever, right? Forever. I personally think a Savinho is more exciting to me for what we need, and this is based on my personal presumption that I think that if you have a dual threat, if you have a right winger like a Kudos and you have someone like him that's happy to go back to the left wing, and then you have that dual threat that can, if you then have a 10 that's capable, which we're going to come onto in a second, then you can have a 6 that can switch the play. If they can do that accurately, then the fullbacks are terrified of having one-on-one defensive responsibilities. They often then call for support from their 6 or from their like-sided centre-back because they don't want to have to face Savinho one-on-one. They don't want to have to face Kudos one-on-one. And then if those people double up, they can shoot the ball into the 10 role on the edge of the D, and then you've got an Eze or you've got whoever else in that role that then has more space to work with. And if you can do both with equal confidence and competence on both sides of the pitch, it's a terrorizing threat, especially Sava, as you suggested that maybe, or was it, sorry, whoever it was that said that under Thomas Frank, we might actually play more on the counter, on the transition.
Yeah, transition. Do you
know
the
makes a
thing
lot
is,
of sense.
we were talking about this earlier, right? And I think the key thing here is what you said there. If you've got Kudos on the right, at the moment, you could see it in every game. Every team knows we've got absolutely sweet FA on the left-hand side or up front. So what they're doing is everyone's putting 2-3 men on Kudos, and fans are then going, oh, what did he do today? And it's like, well, you can't do it all himself. Now, all of a sudden, you've got Kudos on the right, Savinho on the left. Teams are going to fear that because whoever's switching play has now got, I can go left, I can go right, and fullback, and you won't be able to double up on both of them. You can't double up on that many men at once. So I think this is really, really good. I think that the world talks about GA way too much. Like this guy behind me, Ginola, our fan base now wouldn't want to play like Ginola because he weren't banging in 20 goals a season. Do you know what I mean? Like let's be fair.
But at Spurs we're crying out for goals and assists, aren't we? That's the big complaint.
I think
we've got no creativity. So that's why I mentioned GA, because we're crying out for it.
But the creativity was there last year at City. Creativity was there.
No, I'm talking about Spurs. We need it at Spurs, isn't it? That's why I mentioned GA.
Mate. I genuinely think
if he was responsible for those sort of stats, even if it meant that he was eventually finding the space after a take on and then handing it over to Johnson or handing it over to insert whoever there, who then thread it across and Solanke tapped it in, none of the GA would be associated with Savinho, but that it would all be because of him.
Listen, guys, If we get that Savinho that I saw at Girona, I'm all for it because I wanted him. He's an absolute talent. I'll tell you something else. If Savinho does play like that for Spurs, the Arsenal fans are going to go into an apocalyptic meltdown because they are crying out for a left winger. That's all their YouTubers moan about. So if we go and get a left winger that is actually pretty dicey, it's going to be great to watch them do emergency podcasts off the back of it. So Let's see. He's got to wear that shirt for me. Put that shirt on, then we'll talk. But
let's go on the working presumption that it's going to happen, right? Because we can go on the presumption that it's not, and then we can go to meltdown. But on the presumption that our left wing is fixed, that's not the end of our problems. So today, obviously, we've seen rumours. Stories out. Romano again reiterating that Eze is, of course, of high interest to Tottenham Hotspur. Rumours out from people behind the scenes that are saying, that the Tottenham are in communication with Eze. Is Eze the only guy that will satisfy this fan base, Sava?
It feels like that, doesn't it? Like, I'll be honest, when I shamelessly jumped out of bed at midnight to do the stream on the Savinho news, thinking that I genuinely thought this is going to be a player where all of the fans are going, oh my God, yes. Literally everyone going, I'd rather Eze. You have to start reminding people, that him and Eze play in different positions, right? It feels like whoever we're linked with, Sean, our fans can't get Eze's name out their mouth. Now, listen, I want Eze as much as the next guy and girl, right? I would love Eze. Does he come in the last few weeks? Who knows? Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. But we've got to everything can't be, but he's not Eze, I feel like what we've done here as well is, I love Eze, by the way. I feel like we've put Eze into kind of Zinedine Zidane type territory here, where we're making out like this is the greatest footballer the Premier League's ever seen. Listen, if we're a big club, this is all I'll say. If we're a big club, we get both. And now imagine you got three behind Solanke of Savinho left, Kudus right, Eze in the middle. Now we're cooking.
And then now there's no excuses, right? You can't blame the owner if injuries occur. You can't blame anyone but the players and the manager for. I mean, you can still make the argument that Solanke's not good enough if that's the way you feel, and you can still make the argument that Richarlison's not reliable as a backup if that's the way you feel. But as a 7, 10, and 11, Lubo, that's pretty impressive stuff, right? Having the young guys behind it, having the Johnsons, Solomons, the Odebears and the Tells behind that three of an Eze, a Savinho and a Kudus, like that's a massive improvement on what we had last year, isn't it?
It is. If they bought those three, add Polinia to the mix, you've then got four very good players that come straight into the first team. That's what I was saying all of last season, that we missed out. We were four established players short in this transfer window last summer. And no, this isn't about Levy. We're talking players now. So that if they do go and spend 130 million on Savinho and Eze, then fantastic. You know, for me, I'll turn around and say that they've all done, from Levy to Vinay to Lange to Frank. They've all done a very good job. But let's see them get it. I just feel that, you know, we've seen a report saying linking Eze to Arsenal. He wants Arsenal. Those talks seem to have cooled down. I think if it gets to maybe at 7-10 days before the end of the window, maybe, and if Arsenal are not going to come in for him, then that would probably propel Spurs into making an offer. But if the reports are true that Eze has said he wants Arsenal, then, you know, at the end of the day, if a player wants a specific club, like Cunha wanted Man U, like Mbeumo wanted Man U, you know, if these players have got their heart set, you know, the chances are Isak will finish at Liverpool. You know, he's got his heart set on Liverpool. You know, if that happens, then maybe Spurs will come in. They'll come in.
Guys, before I come to you, Stel, quickly, I'm going to ask you another sort of subsection of the question. Guys, there is nowhere near enough likes. There's 1,800 people here, and there's 461 likes. Now, don't get me wrong. I set a very, very decent target of 1,050. So we're about sort of 40% of the way there, give or take. And that's amazing. But there is 1,800 people. I'm not going to have to ask you. I'm not going to have to bother you with these interruptions. If we just get like, just drum the thumb, people. Super easy to do. We really appreciate any support you want to show the channel. But you're already 40% of the way there. There's a lot of people that haven't done it. Drum the thumb, and we can carry on. I won't have to ask you. Once we get to past it, of course I'm going to ask you. Once we get to 1,000, I'm going to set a new strategy. You know what I'm like. Always moving the needle. Hopefully, like Johan Lange and Daniel Levy are. Stel, I want to ask you this, mate. Is at this stage of the window, even if with 2 days to go, I think it's largely irrelevant now, mate, whether or not we sign Savinho tomorrow, tonight, Wednesday. He's not going to be a part of the squad, I don't think. I'm not sure. I put out a tweet earlier with a dancing kid on Twitter who was like beautiful Chinese lad just doing his jig, and I said, imagine this is my vibes if we sign Savinho just in time to put him into the squad. And then Chris Cowlin said, impossible, the squad's already been sent off. But then 15 people came in and said, actually, that's not right. There is a chance to adjust the squad. Anyway, long story short, at this stage of the window, Stel, in your opinion, even if we do get Savinho done, and even if Eze was to drop in, just dream world scenario, by the end of the week, just in time for the Burnley game, or even if it's not in time for the Burnley game, but it's in time for the City game next week, is your appreciation of those signings going to be dampened by the fact that it's too late in the window, or are you okay with the fact that as long as it gets done, you know, it's a long season, and so you'll tolerate it, even though obviously a perfect world would have had them in on June the 1st or whatever?
Depends who we end up with by the end of August. If it's just Savinho, then whatever. If it's Savinho now and then Eze later, maybe one more, then that will change it. It's who we could end up with. But, I mean, all these things should have been done earlier, though, Sean. This is the argument, isn't it? But we got the Super Cup in 2 days. Have the best team you can put on that pitch for that game. It's a trophy that we can win. We've never won it before. Imagine winning that. We've never won it. But we're not even going to go into the game with a realistic hope in hell. If we do win it, let's be honest, we're all going to be stunned. So I wanted these players in
Apparently,
before.
Donnarumma's not involved in their squad, so it's a little bit of a chance for Tottenham. And Neves as well, exactly. Yeah, there's a little.
Well, you never know then, right? But let's have it right. We're probably losing that. And also, it's we're playing 3 Premier League games before the window shuts. That's 9 points. That could be the difference between 4th, 6th, and 10th. Europe and no Europe come the end of the season. So it depends how we finish the transfer window. That's where everyone's going to be at. But if it's just Savinho and that's it, then it's a good-ish window. But do you know what?
All right, so I'll simplify it for you.
Sean. It doesn't matter. Sean, hold on. It doesn't matter if you've got Savinho on the left, Kudus on the right, if fucking Richarlison's the striker. Right? It doesn't matter.
In all likelihood,
if that's who they're feeding, it doesn't matter.
And I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree on that. I don't disagree with you. So in all likelihood, the squad is what it's going to be against PSG. And let's be entirely honest, every single one of PSG's 11 get into ours because of the gulf between the two teams. Therefore, even if we were to sign Eze, even if we had Savinho, I'm not sure it meaningfully alters the outcome. But what's really important, whilst the Super Cup will be lovely,
at least we've got a bit of.
I hear you. I hear you on that. But what meaningfully matters is the Premier League, which starts on Saturday. Do you think that any amount of investment, ambition, etc., from the football club between now and September the 1st is going to change? Is meaningfully going to change Tottenham's opportunity to get into the top 4 this summer, this season?
Yes. Yeah, sign a top 10, sign a top left winger, sign a top striker, sign some kind of backup for the wing back areas, and we can compete. It's a bloody good starting 11.
With who? Who do you think we can compete with?
Like I said, I think one of the top 4 isn't going to have the season everyone expects them to. One of them won't quite be there, and either Newcastle, Tottenham, if we're there, which probably won't be unless we sign these players. Villa, someone is going to have a chance of capitalising. And it's about, do you remember that season when Conte got top 4, he said, it's about being there. So if there's a drop-off, we can pounce. It's about putting us in a position where we can pounce. As it stands, we're not pouncing on anything.
But regardless of, so even if you can go from best case scenario at the moment is being the best of the second tier, like the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th teams, I think we all agree that there's a bank of 4, and then the next bank of 4 is Tottenham, United, Villa, and Newcastle. Even if we can achieve 5th of that 4, to be able to break into the next 4, we need 3 or 4 more players. But even then, the best you can do is get just slightly above one of the teams that falls off.
It depends on the season, because let's say the top 4 all progress in Europe and Spurs crash out at the group stage and we go out to domestic cups, and come January, end of January, all we've got is the league. That changes the direction for us, because one game a week, anything's possible. While the others are trying to rotate, and they're picking up more injuries because they're playing more games. You never know. The football season's weird. This always happens every year. There's always something. We all had Man City as the favourites to win the league last year. Look what happened. You never know what's going to happen. We don't know. But for me, I just want Spurs to have a good enough squad so that we're not blaming Levy every year, which we do. Well, I do. And that we can say, right, manager, you've been backed. Right? Right, manager, you've been backed.
Out tonight. He's going for it.
So I just want us to be able to say we've got a team that I, as a fan, actually believe can now compete at least for that top 4. And then the next season, go and have another good transfer window. Right, now let's try and see where we go with this. Can we knock on the door of a league title campaign? Can we cement top 4 and win an FA Cup? Can we? But if we don't sign good players, it's never going to happen, is it?
All right, same question to you two. I'll come, and then we'll round off the topic and come on to I think a more of a decent conversation. is more around the specifics of like the relationship between the two, or the many people at the club. So we'll come to that in a second. We'll do some super chats beforehand, but just quickly, same question to you, Sav, and then Lubo as well to round it off. Do you think that Tottenham realistically can sign enough players, enough quality, no matter how the window finishes, to be able to realistically break into the Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, City stronghold on that top 4? I know that it doesn't matter because 5th place is enough to get you Champions League, but it's all about a moving piece, isn't it? So we're moving.
I kind of agree with Stellan. I mean, I think it all depends who they are, right? Like I've said all this all the while. I still believe we're going to get another 3 bodies in between now and the end of the window. My issue has never been that we won't sign anyone. My issue is what will the caliber of that footballer look like? You go and get Savinho, you go and get Eze, you've already got Kudus and Paulinho in, and then you go and get a striker as well. Why not? Why not? Probably more 5th for me. Probably the best of the rest. I do think that the Chelseas, the Cities, they've got massive squads now. Like they've just got quality everywhere. And we will still, even if we buy those players, the drop off from Savinho to Tell is going to be huge, from Kudus to Johnson. So it is a huge drop off. But hey, I won't complain about that this season if we get those players. I think it's a bit early for the top 4, but 5th should get you Champions League right this year again. 5th should be, because of the coefficient points from last year. Chelsea and Spurs both winning European tournaments should secure 5th again, I believe. I'm not 100% on that. But they're leaving it late. And Stel, I hate agreeing with Stel this much, but Stel makes a really good point as well.
Why hate it, man? Enjoy it. Embrace it.
Yeah, but that's not good fun, is it? Like surely we want.
Fair enough.
But he makes a really good point, because from those first 3 games, when they came out and you saw that we had Burnley at home, City away, and Bournemouth at home, right? The first thought in me, I don't know if you three agree, my first thought was minimum 6 points. That's got to be a minimum of the 2 games at home wins. That's got to be, right? To start the season off well. Listen, if you can get something at City, great. But I'd take 6 from 9 if offered right now. Now I'm worried as it stands going into Burnley.
Who's our first 3 games? Burnley,
It's
City,
Burnley,
and who's the third
City,
one? Bournemouth. Where's Bournemouth? At home?
At White Hart Lane, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, it must be. Yeah, makes sense.
Very sure, yeah. So, but for me at the moment, I'm genuinely worried. I mean, Lubo's 14-1 on a 0-0 draw looks quite tasty. So Estelle's right. If we after 3 games, you're sitting there with 2 points because we've got no goals and creativity in this team. You're playing catch up from game 3, and that will put us in. If I'm not wrong, that then sends us into the international break on a real low. So the long-winded way of saying, can we? Yes. Will we? Over to Lange, Levy, Vinay, whoever's buying players, over to them boys.
Yeah, Lubo, great little segue, mate. Last chance for you to have a crack on just the overall sentiment around where we can get to. Because I'm personally of the opinion, just super quick, Lubo, sorry. I'm personally of the opinion that even if Tottenham were to get Savinho in, and I hope we do, Eze in, and I hope we do, or even if we don't get him because we go after Harvey Elliott or whatever else, even if we go and get on top of that, a Vissa, and everyone's going tick, 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 I still don't think we have the squad depth, and I still think we have massive medical issues at our football club. I still don't think that we have enough about us to be able to compete on all 4 fronts and break into the top 4. I think it might give us the best chance of being able to finish 5th amongst the other 3. But I look at Chelsea, what they did in the Club World Cup, I look at the 3 teams above them, and I just think that right now it's about keeping up rather than overcoming for this season personally. Not that I think that Thomas Frank should be held to the standard of finishing 5th in his first season, but I think that that's the limit of what our expectations should be.
Well, apart from saying that I think it's a bit of a tall order to jump from 17th to 4th, I think you've pretty much said everything I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry, mate. I didn't mean to say that, mate.
I echo everything you've just said, Sean. I just think, again, you get to a position where you've got a really good first 11-ish, and then you're in 4 competitions, you're playing 50-plus games. I mean, you look at it, we're guaranteed 48 games at the moment with 10 cup games across the 3. Plus, we progress. Could be anything up to 60 odds. We get a few injuries. We don't have the strength in depth. It's better because you've got someone like Dan So to come in for a Romero or a Van der Ven. You've got Spence that could cover if either fullback go down. And I honestly think you'll see a big improvement in Gray this year. I think you'll see a big improvement in Bergvall this year. And they'll be coming in behind Polinia, Bentancur, who I think will be the two that starts on Saturday. So I think it is getting stronger, but I don't think it's strong enough to crack into the top four. I said all along, I would be happy this year if we finish sixth. If we could get into the Europa League, and then have a good chance of winning it in 26-27, you could finish up with your 2 Europa League winning campaigns, 2 in 3 years, which would be terrific. And I think for me, that's our earliest and best chance of a trophy under Thomas Frank. But you're going to come on to what you're saying about recruitment, and that's sort of leads into Frank.
100%. I think the next segment is going to be the one where we figure out how that looks, and I think it's going to be. I'm not sure if it's going to be spicy or otherwise, but it's certainly going to be a thing that's going to draw in Daniel Levy. It's going to draw in the commentary that I think that Thomas Frank. I personally have looked at all of the commentary that's come out from Thomas Frank in the last 4 or 5 days that have been spread from a bunch of different interviews, and I've got my own kind of conclusions from that, and I don't think it particularly paints a great picture. So we'll come to that in the second section. But before we do, guys, I want to say there's 1,900 people here. I think we just hit a new record for the channel. So thank you so much for all the support in terms of concurrent lives. Really do really do appreciate all of the support, guys. We've got some super chats we're going to get to, and then we're going to bang into the next segment. Which I think we'll see where it goes. But please do smash the subscribe as well. And if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, by the way, and you want to access the chat, if you're watching this on a chattable device, all you have to do is hit the subscribe, instant access, no delays. You get straight into it. So appreciate everybody. Blaine Devlin from Super Spurs TV. Big up to you, my man. He started the Super Sticker train. When the Super Sticker train starts, ladies and gentlemen, the Super Sticker noise, the train has to sound. We appreciate you, Blaine. You started the sticker. We're picking you up on the way to Top 4 Junction from Northern Ireland. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much indeed. Bourbon Buzzard has come in saying, good evening, all 5 gents. Spit poll, Eze or Elliott? Go on, quick one. Eze or Elliott? Sab?
Eze Elliott's going to Leipzig, isn't he? I think that's pretty much nailed on, I believe, today.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Hijack's on, apparently. Maybe not. You'll think Eze, though. Sab?
Definitely.
Eze, but I really like Elliott. I'd take him as well. If we were a proper club, we'd have both. Sod it.
Eze.
Eze. I'll take Eze as well. Appreciate you, Bourbon. Appreciate you, mate. Very cool name as well. Cat Funt saying, big up. Spurs 5, -1. Savinho incoming. Wouldn't it be fantastic if we got a bomber, a drop-in bomber in the next hour and 10 or hour and 15? It'd be sensational, wouldn't it? Absolute gold mine.
It'll be when I get into bed, Sean.
Yeah. And then you're straight out. Just as the missus is getting ready for a kiss and a cuddle. Sorry, babe. Content's got a content. You know how it works. I have to say the same thing to Bugsy Malone every evening. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed, Cat Fun. Super Spurs, Blaine's back again. Stell, you wearing that specific nightshirt as an indicator to our hierarchy. Big up, lads. What's it saying?
It says THFC. That's actually a Spurs night top. So,
oh, nice.
But yes, it's a message. It's a message to Levy, Vinay, and everyone else at the club. Absolutely
sensational stuff. Big up to you, Blaine. Dean Law, super sticker. Choo to you, Dean Law. We're picking you up as well, my man. Thank you very much indeed for the support, buddy. Really appreciate you. Andrew Huggett as well. The best foursome since the Beatles. Backed. Johnny's going to be so gutted. He's on his way home from Scotland. He's on his way home from Scotland. He's not going to be happy about that, but we appreciate the you sound like you've got a Scottish name there. Andrew. My name's Andrew Huggett. I don't know what that was. Forget it. I'll move on. Justin Redding, new member of the show. Thank you very much, Justin. Appreciate you, buddy. Absolute legend. Looking forward to putting out some members content for you, Manny. Thank you so much. Choppy Cheese is back. Kudus, Polinia, Savinho, and Eze. Surely Lubo would inhale a Levy fart. Choppy Cheese, you are weird with that one.
Always the fart talk.
You're
Always.
pushing it a little bit there, Choppy Cheese.
You got two, maybe 3 of the 4. What would it take, Lubo?
Listen, if they get 4, I'll be happy with the transfer window.
Fair enough.
Can
Thank you very
I
much.
want to speak on that, right?
Yeah.
It's all good and well finally having a good transfer window after 25 years, okay? If we have a good transfer window, then fair play. But it has to be the new norm. So it can't just be this one purple patch summer transfer window. They now need to maintain that, and that's got to be their new way of operating. If that's what happens over the next 2, 3, 4 years, no, 3, 4 years, not 2, 3, 4 years, then that's something where I could say, hold on, no more Levy out for me, because they are giving it everything. If it's just this window and then next year we go back to tight, then it's, well, hold on a minute. What did we do?
What does the window look like? I think I was having this conversation with Lubo earlier. I think like it comes, if you're going to judge a window based on players signed, then you're going to have an opinion on the players that are signed. Like there's lots of people that didn't rate Polinia. I personally wanted him. I know Saba did. I'm pretty sure Luba did still. I think you did as well. There's lots of people out there that might not rate Polinia. There's lots of people out there that might like Matisse Tell that might not.
Yeah, but everyone agrees on Kudus, Eze, and Savinho. So
I'll put a poll out in this chat. 14% of nearly 1,000 votes.
Yeah, but the majority.
Savinho is not a needle mover. This baffles me. This baffles me.
If more than 70% of the fan base agree on a play, you could say, do you know what? They've bought someone that the fans is, giving the thumbs up.
I would just argue that the fan base is not the barometer of what isn't a good transfer window, because I remember the 3 days leading up to the Europa League final on my channel, I asked a poll every single day about Ange in or Ange out, and the violent swings that took place over the 3 days before the final and the 3 days afterwards was insane. It was absolutely insane. And so I just think that the fan base is too emotionally attached to things that they can't control, and emotional arguments, emotional rationales lead to weird.
Yeah, but we all agreed most of the signings under Ange were very underwhelming, though. As a fan base, we said, why have we signed Richarlison? Gray needs at least 3-4 years. Who's the other one? Like Matisse Tell, what are we doing? There was a lot of players Kinski, what was the point of that when we needed different types of players? Most of the signings under Ange, a lot of us as fans...
It led us to a Europa League title, which was the reason why you flipped on Ange Postecoglou in the first place. So,
and as you keep telling me, but we finished 17th. Right? Just to put it back on you.
No, I don't personally get involved in the Ange and out debate. It's this between you and Saba. My just take is that, like, if we're, the whole point I'm making is that if the Levy out needle moves one way or the other based on people's subjective opinion, then subjectivity comes into it. And if you have a predisposition to believe a certain way about a certain person, like Levy, which everybody does, then it's a constant moving set of goalposts.
I think fans know enough to know whether we've had a good window or not. I think most fans could say, do you know what? That was a good window. That was a brilliant window. That was underwhelming, or that is just shite.
I'm not sure.
Most fans can gauge it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because I think
we all knew Timo Werner was a shambolic signing.
Well, no, but we didn't. But we didn't all know that still.
Most of us did.
Do you know how many people? Sure, but do you know how many people last year, I agree with you on the transfer windows, but do you know how many people last year during that transfer window were going, oh, look at this, these generational youngsters are coming in, this is the right thing, it's a youth project. It was only when we started doing badly that they all changed their tune to, oh, but the manager's not being backed. We do it every year still. You and I know. There will be YouTubers that
there was a generational
to 20 other creators to send them a 5-minute clip, a 2-minute clip predicting the season. And because they're all too scared to say the truth, they'll all say, I think we can finish third this year. I think we can finish fourth and win both cups. And then what happens is they'll all say all this lovely stuff. And then when the team doesn't do well, they go, they weren't backed.
100%.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. But
And that's what I mean, right? So like you either, I think you either have to get on board the notion of like what I think doesn't necessarily reflect what the club thinks or what the manager wants, or you can, or you can agree that, or you can get on board this notion that what I believe is the be all and end all, in my opinion. But if you're doing that, then your opinions that you go into that stuff has a predisposition and will likely mean that you have a bias towards whatever those outcomes are.
Yeah, but Luba, because one thing then, sorry, I'll pass the mic to you.
We still got 17 super chats to go, but we've got 2 in.
The last couple of years, if you go across all YouTube channels, the general consensus was it was a 5 or 6 out of 10 window, though. Most channels did go with those kind of numbers. Very few gave it a 8, 7, none of that. So I do think in general,
but you're never going to get a 10 out of 10 window. Sorry, Luba, as well. Just quickly, you're never going to get a 10 out of 10 window if the club goes after youth players.
Mate, I agree. I totally agree. That's why I always give it a 5.
Right. Sorry, Luba.
But it's very simply, how each fan views the window on September the 1st is based on obviously the number of players that have come in. But if you've got X amount of players that have come in, then how somebody judges the window on their opinion of the players. Obviously, at the end of a season, you've got the benefit of hindsight and everybody can turn around and say, maybe I was wrong. Maybe, when I was asked about the summer window last year, I gave it a 6 out of 10. I said, great, split it into 3. We've got rid of a lot of dead wood, tick. We bought some really good kids, tick. Established players, we've got 1 out of 4 or 5 that we should have bought because we lost a lot. That was a big cross. So for me, it was like a 6 out of 10. But it was a 6 out of 10 based on splitting 3 different sections of the transfer window rather than the players that were bought.
Well, I think we can all agree that we're never all going to agree on what a window looks like. Depending on what your personal stance is, right? Which is why windows are subjective. Guys, let me just oh, go on, sorry, Sav, go on, quickly.
No, it wasn't important. God, you're good.
We got a load more super chats to get through, and I want to move into the second segment. Whole Spurs, big up to you, mate. Thank you so much. It says 90 minutes to go till the announcement at 10 p.m. Ask Sean.
Yeah, Savinho announced it. We want it for 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, apparently someone said I think it was Ian Meth. He said to me on the live stream. He said that his sources are saying 10 p.m. There's an announcement coming. We'll find out.
Ian Meth said it's done and dusted on that. On that
he did say it's done and dusted. He did. So I've been in the mud. Luba, you're in the mud for who's in charge of the club. Ian Meth, you might be in the mud if there's nothing out in the next 59 minutes. We'll find out. Appreciate you, Whole Spurs. Thank you so much, my man. Stixie. Very cool of you, mate. New member as well. Thank you so much, buddy. Really appreciate you. Thank you for the support of the channel. I'd love to get to know you soon when we do start doing members-only content. Aris Athens, big up to you, mate. You haven't said anything, but you dropped in I'll call it a super sticker then. Choo-choo, we're picking you up from Australia, Aris. Thank you so much, my man. Very cool of you as well. Let's move on to Finger Bob. Says, Savinho would be a great acquisition for me. Come on, you Spurs. I think we all agree. Well, most of us agree. Apparently, 92% of the what is it right now, Sav? What's the rate? What's the ratio?
Right now, we've had 1,000 votes, and exactly 1,001 votes, and 14% said no. So 140 people don't think he moves the needle.
Wow.
When we've got Matisse Tell and Odobert and Solomon and Brian Hill as our left wingers. I mean,
there you go.
That's how you know we'll never all agree on a good window. We can't. Our fans don't even know a good footballer. what are we doing here?
Hold on. So 860 do.
Yeah, I know, but
opinions have to opine, right?
We've got to accept that, haven't we?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Finger Bob. Appreciate you, mate. Mark is also come in with a super sticker. Choo-choo to you, Mark. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate you very much indeed. Let's go to Paul Shark. Big up to you, Paul. Palace lose the appeal. Offer as a Champions League football now. I'm gonna keep that one starred, Paul, because I think it's Actually, no, we're kind of sort of done that. You know, is that a fact that you reckon, guys, could super quick? Is the fact that whole thing, that whole ordeal with Crystal Palace's European football, that's out of the way and it's gone badly for them? Do you think that sort of turns Eze, or maybe anybody else in their team, away from thinking they'll stay and maybe think they want to leave? Anyone got a take on that?
Whether they were in the Europa or the Conference League, we should be able to get Eze. Surely the difference between those two competitions shouldn't be the difference between whether or not we go and get him or not, in my opinion.
I agree. Anyone disagree?
I agree with Saba.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Paul. There you guys, your answer. Wes, big up to you, Wes, from Zimbabwe, I think. Is that Zimbabwe? I'm not sure. Thank you very much for the super chat, mate. Would you guys rather Paz or Eze? And do you think we'll compete for top 4 with Savinho, Solanke, Kudus, and one of those two, Eze or Paz? Stel?
I'd rather Eze. Do you think we'd compete for top 4 with Savinho, Solanke, Kudus, Paz, and Eze? I think we miss out because we need a proper striker at the club, like someone that's going to get us 20 goals a year. I don't think Solanke's that guy. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Bring it on. I'm all for it, but I just don't see it.
I agree. Bring Harry back.
Now you're in dreamland.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
I'll be entirely honest. Maybe this might slide into the next part of the segment, but I actually think Paz is a better passer of the ball than Eze is in terms of overall output. And I'd be more than happy to see Paz come in. I think Nico Paz is an absolute baller. So I'd love Eze. He's proven it. Paz is a young kid, but I think Paz, if we get Paz, love it. Would absolutely love it. Thank you, Wes, very much indeed. Let's carry on, guys. We've still got a few more super chats to go until we can get on with the second start. Lubo, her up. Well, I think it was formerly known as Mr. Box Office.
Yeah.
I'd like Levy to be more bold in the transfer market, but he's mainly bold in the market. Also, I'd love Lubo's thoughts on Levy, Welsh accents, Ange, flavour. Lubo, do you want to be daring enough to give your summary of Daniel Levy in a Welsh accent?
Not really. I can't.
He's amazing, isn't it? Proper chairman.
I'll leave all the Mike Yardwoods to you, Sean.
All right, fair enough. Thank you very much, Mr. Box Office. Good to see you, mate. Appreciate your super sticker, a super chat. DMB forever. Drum and Bass Forever is also coming with a super sticker. Thank you very much, buddy. Love your music. Craig Scott, General Tracks is one of Sava's men. Currently camping in Dorset. Want a bomber tonight. You might have to get a bonfire tonight if you're camping in Dorset, but a bomber, we'll wait and see. Ian Meth has promised us one by 10 o'clock, Craig. Thank you very much, mate. And Andy Lester has come in saying, surely our opinion of a window must include out too. Fair point, of which we haven't done anywhere near enough at all. Thank you, Andy. And Westside Hoodie says, Kudus Savinho Eze equals Saucy FC. Yeah, listen, if those two come in, I can't imagine too many people have too many problems, but you know, content has to content, agendas have to agenda. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. That's the super chat segment done. We're going to move in right now to the next segment of the show, which is about, and I think this one gets a little bit, I don't know whether this is going to go a little bit saucy or otherwise, but does Thomas Frank trust and Johan Lange? The reason I brought this in, guys, is because there's about 4 or 5 different things that are going on. I'm going to summarize them as quickly as I can so that I don't take up too much time here. But in a sole interview after the game with Newcastle, Thomas Frank gave like an interview that got out on The Athletic, and it was all about his preamble to Tottenham Hotspur when he was having a 48-hour party and stuff in Denmark or something. But within there was lots of little takeaways. One of the things he said was that he has become used to a 7-year level of efficiency at Brentford, where everyone knows everybody, everyone knows what their roles and responsibilities are. He doesn't have that at Tottenham. He said he doesn't know everybody and everyone doesn't know him, even though within the coaching staff, he's taken 80% of his coaching staff with him. 1 or 2 people have hung around. He talked about the fact that in a separate interview saying, we are in the market. but we're not just going to sign anybody. If the players aren't good enough, I'd rather wait. The Romano tweet that came out regarding the Savinho deal made it very abundantly clear that this one is Thomas Frank's overall first pick. He also said things like, we have to have our meetings before and after the training session. We used to have 10 minutes here and there. Nobody, I'm not particularly clear. No one really understands what we're doing here yet. He then also went as far as to say, I'm not saying that our talent ID at Tottenham he was saying, I'm not saying that our talent ID at Brentford was better than it is here, but it was very, very good, which I think is a very polite way of saying Tottenham's talent ID systems are shit and our systems were great, but it was all part of the fact that he's built that over 7 years. I think you can summarize all of those things into one outcome, especially when you have the Savinho story. I think it's not that's unreasonable to sit there and say that maybe there's a scenario where the reason why we haven't bought players yet or haven't been linked to very many is because Johan Lange said, how about this guy? How about this guy? How about this guy? And Thomas Frank has said, no. At which point someone said, who do you want? And he said Savinho. And then Daniel Levy potentially has broken the habit of a lifetime and said, hey, Man City, I'm interested in Savinho. To which whoever it is at City has said, not interested in selling. How about if we pay this much? Oh, okay, we can have a conversation, which is entirely abnormal to Daniel Levy's method of doing business. So my question to you before we get into Levy, I'll let you start on this one. Do you think that Thomas Frank and Johan Lange are on the same page with regards to our talent ID?
I don't think at all. I think Frank has come from Brentford, where he's smoothed out all the rough edges over 7 years, and he's come into a club where the recruitment could be better, is probably a polite way of putting it. And I think it's, listen, it takes time. It's going to take time for Frank to put across his philosophy in terms of playing and the style and tactics. And likewise, when it comes to recruitment, he can't just flick a switch and change mentality and the way Spurs do things overnight. So I think it's his way very nicely of saying things need to change and things need to be done my way. And I will teach you guys how I want it done. And, for that reason, you can understand why there's been less action from Spurs in the transfer market than we expected. There is no point in him bringing in the wrong players, is there? What's the point? Have we not wasted enough money on players over the last few years? I think, we're not looking on Frank as a 12-month situation where he's got to go out and do the best, otherwise he's out. You've brought a serious, proper individual in, a professional in, to do the best job he can do. And the last 6 years, apart from the Europa League, the last 6 years really we've sort of gone downhill since Madrid. And even then, Madrid was going downhill after 2017 when we left the lane, because we finished with 86 points. The football that year was fantastic, and it's never been repeated since. And we saw, when it came to Madrid, we dropped off 15, 16, 18 points in the league from that great 17 season with Poch. So, I think he wants the rot to stop, and he's going to sort the whole thing out and build the club back up. And I'm really excited over the next few years to watch him do it. He's got to be backed properly. And for me personally, I still think Vinay coming in. My pal said, I got a football with, said to me today, what's Vinay's position? I said, well, he's come in as chief football officer. He said, well, this is a big transfer window. What's he done in the 2 months? This is really important, and for him, these are 2 really important months. But I think it goes deeper than that, in the fact that I think Frank needs to stamp his authority and the way he works and what he wants on the whole club. And
right.
And it's going to take longer.
It takes time, right? It takes a long time.
It takes time, sure.
Yeah. By the way, just to be entirely clear, I'm not sitting there trying to invoke some sort of narrative that there's problems. I'm just saying that he's walked away from a system that he's built, the ecosystem of which has taken a long time to create efficiencies, and he's walked into something that he's not familiar with, and he's not particularly. Those things are going to take time. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to invoke some narrative that there's problems between the two. I'm just saying that it's learning. It's like teething problems into a new system, essentially. Stel, what about you, mate? How do you feel about the whole thing?
Okay, I'm not going to make this Levy out. I'm not going to do that. But
You can if you want to. You can if you want to, mate.
No. I'm not. Every manager that comes to Spurs gets sold something, whether it's a big pay packet like Mourinho and Conte, or the lure of managing a bigger club like Nuno, Poch, and Frank have been given. And Levy gets them in. he gets the manager in. He sells them something that makes them say, yeah, go on then. Once they're in, they all go through the same process. Some take a couple of weeks, some take a month, some take a year. They all start saying things that tell you this isn't quite how you should be doing it. What are you lot doing? And that's what they're all saying. And some like to blow it up, throw grenades, kick off, throw players under the bus. Others like to play the game, toe the line, come across like pure yes men. But they all have their way of doing it. And it's always the same thing. It comes down to recruitment, whether it's buying or selling players or the players that they're expected to work with and achieve certain results. Frank's just doing what every other manager has done. He's basically saying, what are you lot doing? And that's it for me, Sean. It's as simple as that.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to. Well, I'm going to have to push. I will push back on it, but I'm going to Sava the first crack.
Don't worry, I'll push back on it first if you want, Sean. Because the last manager didn't do that in any way, shape, or form. The last manager just told us. No, hang on. No. The last manager told us every signing he signed off on. The last manager told us I sign off on every signing. No one joins this club without me. All I've heard from people for the last couple of months is that Thomas Frank is a yes man. Everything you've seen yesterday that he's come out and said, that message is completely that he's not a yes man, that he's not accepting players that don't fit his system. That's what he said. And he's literally said that. I know I'm paraphrasing, but saying people are being presented to him, that's not a profile of a player for me. Push him back. That's what we want. I always hear, why doesn't the manager push back? The manager's a yes man, but he's not being a yes man. He's not being a yes man, is he? He's saying, I don't want these players that are being put in front of me, and I've got to make the recruitment team and the recruitment director, whatever Lange is these days, I've got to make them understand what is it that I want from a footballer. We all ask for that from a manager, and then when we get it, we still call him a yes man, and we still want to have a pop at him. I agree with everything Lubo said. I mean, this guy has got to come in. He's got to change the culture, right? And part of that is changing the culture of the recruitment team as well. Now, Stell is right in a sense that everyone who comes in, we seem to have something similar. But if you look straight away, Kudus isn't the normal type of signing we'd make. Paulinho at the age of 30 or whatever he is on loan isn't the normal signing we'd make. So I do think there are slight tweaks that we're seeing already. If they go and get Savinho, how long have we asked to go to a bigger club and take one of their players that plays? That would be what we're doing if we go to Man City and take Savinho. Can we do that with Eze? It's a fine. I say this same thing every week. It's a fine line. If you go and get Eze, you get Savinho. It shows that he's being listened to and things are changing. If we don't, and we end up this window with El Canous, with players like that, it shows that nothing's changing, and we are just going and buying young players who are available cheap. So the next 3 weeks for me is, well, look.
Can I push back on this, Sean? Can I push back?
Because there's a double-edged sword that both you're disagreeing with each other, but I think there's a third angle here, which is I just think that the fans have an assumption that they know what it is that the manager wants, and that happens to align with how you feel. Right? And if you're not impressed with the talent, if you don't think that El Canous is good enough, Sav, or if you don't think Stel that Matisse Tell was wanted, then therefore there's this narrative that everybody's a yes man at Tottenham Hotspur. And I'm just saying, like, where like that's built on a foundation of subjectivity. I have this debate with Lubo all the time that I think is predispositioned in the idea that you want something different to what you've got. Therefore, you assume that the manager, if he's not asking for the same things that you are, then therefore he is a yes man. And I just, there's so much.
I think this yes man thing is nonsense. Like,
Same.
I like it when people.
Guys, hold on.
Hang on. I like it.
Very. Go on, this other go.
I was just going to say, I like it when I see people go, yes man, he's a yes man, he's a yes man. Sorry, who is not a yes man to their boss? Within a degree, who is not a yes man to their boss in any walk of life? Like this notion that if a manager accepts a footballer, he's another yes man.
Well, someone that's not scared to challenge things when they can see it's wrong because they're more skilled and qualified in football than the chairman.
Sure, but as fans, we would never know if that was happening.
Sava, but we do because every manager pushes back with this owner just because it's not in the press conference and we get to see it. You hear things, for example, when Poch says, "Don't call me manager, just call me coach."
Sure,
that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous assumption.
Sean, hold on. You know, behind the scenes, he's not happy. He's asked, he's pushed, and he's been pushed back. Ange Postecoglou.
Wait. Again, you're just saying something like it's a fact. Qualify that.
When Poch said, "Stop calling me the manager, just call me a coach," right? How he said it, the way he said it, the body language. Talks had happened behind the scenes.
Body language experts now. Ollie.
Hold on, Sean. If you can't tell when someone's upset,
when
someone's happy. Okay, listen. I can. He clearly wasn't happy.
Yes, man.
Hold on. I know you want to protect Levy. I know you want to jump on Levy's back.
I don't care. Mate, don't regress the arguments. That bollocks.
I'm not regressing. Poch wasn't happy not being back.
Question.
He
Are
wasn't
you a
happy
body
being
language
back,
expert? Are you a body language expert?
Sean, Pochettino. I can see certain things to know something's not right at the club. Yes, I can do that. I can see Poch wasn't happy. I can see Poch was disappointed that he wasn't backed, right? Antonio Conte said, unless you buy players of 60, 70 million pounds 2 or 3 times a year, how do you compete? He's now saying things. Don't forget Ange Postecoglou, he said in December, we need some backup, and he was made to wait to the end of January.
Okay,
he also said, wait, hold on, Sean. No, wait, let me finish.
Sorry.
He also said, right, for a whole year, he towed the line. For a whole year, he said yes to everything. Everything's wonderful. But then once he woke up, at the end, Sean, let me finish.
No, I'm saying, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk about. Who are you talking about?
Ange Postecoglou. For a whole year, he was a yes man, nodding, yes, everything's wonderful, great. I'm going for each manager to show you what's happened. At the end, before he got sacked, he said, right, now we need some experienced players, right? So what I see from every manager at Spurs, at some point, whether it's really early on, a couple of months in, a year, whenever at some point they realize, right, this is how it works at this club, I'm going to push back on it. None of them have been successful so far. If Frank is successful with his pushback, guys, I'm all for it.
No, hold up. Okay. So now I've got to challenge you on that. Okay. So again, your basic assumption is that a manager at some point when he first comes in is happy, and then when things go tits up, he starts to change his narrative. And if you're using Ange Postecoglou as a guy to say trust his
all the managers, Sean, all of them.
I'll go back to Pochettino, because Pochettino, the narrative that was used by people like yourself, people like Lubo, people that follow this narrative, they say that Pochettino demanded a rebuild, right? A long and painful. That's what he said, and therefore we're supposed to take him on his word. And then
the guy Frank on his word.
Hang on. No, I'm not saying. I don't say anyone. Listen, I'll be consistent. I don't know what you're supposed to infer, because I think, as I've always said on a million different debates, when people point to me, Hugo Lloris, I remember Brian Daigle, bless his cotton socks. As soon as Hugo Lloris came out with that the whole watch conspiracy thing, that's it. That's proof. Proof is there. Tottenham, Daniel Levy's an absolute bozo. How about this? And they go, no, it's not just
you're
that.
being disingenuous to Brian there.
No, I'm not. Hang on.
That's not what he said or did.
Hang on a second.
You can't do that.
Actually, I'm not doing it in a way to slam him because he did it on.
But you got to say what he said about it. You've not put the context to what Brian said, though.
Hang on. He did it on We Are. Ben Daniel did the same thing, right? Sim did the same. That everybody takes any. If you have a predisposition to hate,
saying that Levy was celebrating getting to the final, not waiting until we won it before giving out these inscribed watches. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, you haven't even let me finish my point. The overarching point that I would make is that people that will they'll cherry pick any particular point to reinforce their narrative. Hugo Lloris, in that particular narrative, was the captain of the football club for the longest time in my career, or in my lifetime, of any particular manager, or any particular captain.
Yeah,
and he was sitting there on the back of him being the captain, saying that there was an insufficient despondency and criticizing a fucking gift of a watch as the reason why Tottenham have problems. When he was like, just let me get, because this is just one of several points, right? I'll skip over the Hugo thing, but he is the captain. He is responsible for the leadership, the insufficient despondency. He's responsible for that. Yeah, he points to the enemy that sits in the boardroom. Glenn Hoddle writing a book, right? There's a common theme. I always say this. You have to question the narrative and the intentions and the motivations of the people that are writing the things that they write to see whether or not there is an inbuilt motivation for them to pass the buck. And everybody that says the things that are always cherry-picked by people like yourself and Lubo and everybody else, they'll sit there and go, is someone criticizing Daniel Levy? Well, there you go, more evidence. Yet ultimately, those people are responsible for their own job. They're paid a lot of money and they don't do it. And it doesn't surprise me when they write...
Sean, 1 minute.
I haven't finished, mate. I'm almost done.
You've changed. This is a different talking point. We're talking about managers pushing back. Every manager at this club has pushed back in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's the right way, wrong way, positive, negative, they've all pushed back at some point.
I haven't missed the point. Pochettino, I was going to get.
We're not talking about us cherry picking things. We're not.
No, I'm not. Again, now you're cherry picking the tone of my argument. I'm giving you. I could give you 12.
I'm saying every manager pushes back, Sean. They all do.
Hang on, sorry. Can I counter that quickly before you go? Sean? Sorry,
fair enough. Maybe I'm taking something against my point. Fair enough. Go on, Karen. I did have a different point to make.
The thing is, with that, Stel, you choose to believe the managers when they say that, but when they say something else, because that doesn't go with your point, you don't believe them.
Like what?
So Ange Postecoglou for nearly 2 years, constantly. I don't want leaders. I want to develop them from within the club.
Yeah.
I don't want I don't want experience because I want to develop the youth players through. Then all of a sudden, when he does terribly, he changes right at the last minute to we need experience. But that's the bit you believe from him. So
I believe. No, Sav, I don't. I said Ange's a yes man. He's a puppet for 2 years. I said that, and the penny dropped at him where he realised. And all these things you thought, you've now realised you can't actually do it because you need quality. And that's what counts, not just your coaching. And you're not going to get it.
But maybe that's not being a yes man still. Maybe that's him realising that he's not as good as he thinks and he can't develop players as good as he thinks. So I think what Sean's point is because
you might have a point with that. Everybody might have a point with that. But Conte was good enough. Conte was good enough, guys.
Still, no, fuck that bollocks. Conte struggled in his second season, and suddenly he throws his toys out the pram.
Look at the players he had.
I could go back. Pochettino, right? This narrative.
We signed Danjuma when.
Let me finish. Let me finish a point.
Got to be one at a time, guys.
Let me finish the point, bro. Let me finish a point. Right? I've been interrupted 5 times. I won't take too long, but I could literally give you a very easy, demonstrable argument for every single manager you're talking about of how it is that they say one thing and then they say another when it's time when the shit hits the fan. Right? You can go back to Harry Redknapp. You can go back to Martin. There's a justifiable argument for every single person to sit there and say, at some point when the shit hits the fan, they then come out and blame things that they were more than happy to get on board with at the start. And your argument is always, well, they're just a yes man at the start and the truth comes out at the end. But that's just because they're backing their own.
I never said at the end. I never said that, Sean. I never said at the end. I said each manager has a different moment.
Every single manager has a different reason.
Conte called it out after he got us top 4.
Conte called it out when the shit hit the fan.
No, he called it out in the summer.
He's just another example. He is another example.
There's another example in the summer.
What did he say? What did he say in the summer? I don't remember him calling it out.
Every
at all.
He said Spence isn't my
manager-
signing. It's a club signing. They wanted him.
That's not
So what he's saying
calling
is,
it out.
I don't
That's-
have
that's
control of the
talking about
signings.
one
The club
transfer.
does. But Sean, sorry, Sava?
But that's not cool. See again, what you've done there, right?
I'm
Is
telling you what Conte said.
yeah, but because Conte said one line about Jed Spence, suddenly that's calling out transfers. I hate to
But
break it to people, but you
Yeah,
do
because it was a
realise
transfer,
not
Sava. What do
every
you mean?
manager-
Hold on, but that was a
every manager-
transfer.
you do realise that at every club this happens. We talk about it like it's only Tottenham. You do realise.
No, this is a Spurs channel, and we're talking about the manager situation at Tottenham.
I'm not.
Sorry, Sav. Give me.
Jesus
Sav,
Christ.
I know you're getting pissed off, mate, but I haven't finished the point I was trying to make 5 minutes ago. Just give me 30 seconds. Stel, my point is this.
Yeah.
Name me one manager in Premier League history that when they're fired turns around and goes, "Do you know what? I was shit." Name me one manager that turns around and accepts the account. Exactly.
Nobody.
So on that basis, is it not likely, not necessarily always, but is it not likely that every time a manager comes around with a fucking rationale as to why it's this guy's fault and not mine? That
Now
maybe
name one manager who's been properly backed by Levy.
Ange? 400 million quid in the space of 2 years, whatever it is, 350 million quid?
Sean, we
Hang
all
on a
know.
second, Still. Answer me the question. Has any manager in the history of the Premier League ever sat there and gone, he was right to sack me, I was shit? Or do they all either fuck off into the sunset and never speak about it? Or do they all blame someone else for the reason why they don't get
Mourinho wins at every club except for Spurs. Conte wins at every club except for Spurs. Yeah, they're shit, Sean. They're shit. They're going to tell you they're shit when they know they're better than Levy.
What club
They're
has
all better than Levy?
What club has
He goes to
Mourinho
Napoli and
managed?
wins Serie A. Oh, but he's
What
a
club
dinosaur.
has
His
Mourinho
football's
managed?
turgid. All right.
What club has
Sure.
Mourinho or Conte managed before they came to Tottenham that they weren't the favourites to win or up and amongst it? Did Tottenham Hotspur not have to go and stretch and reach to convince them to come to Tottenham Hotspur? To sit there and make the argument that it's as easy for those guys to win a trophy at Tottenham as it was for them to win at Chelsea or wherever else they've been is disingenuous because you're trying to make a fucking point.
I got Tottenham to the
narrative.
I get Tottenham to the Carabao Cup final. You sacked me 5 days before the final. I must be shit. Yeah, all right.
The Carabao Cup final is
It's ridiculous.
Talking about that.
Come on.
Can I try and bring this back to what we're talking about?
Why would Mourinho say shit when he got us to a final? Never even got to manage the final.
Well, that Conte.
Can I?
Or any other manager in the Premier League's history. Name me one that has ever sat there.
Conte
Name me
wanted out.
one. Name me
Conte
one
wanted
manager.
out.
Name me one manager that has ever sat there and said, "You know what? I should have been sacked." And if
No,
you
no,
can't,
no,
then
no
maybe
managers-
at least accept this suggestion that maybe when people point the fingers elsewhere,
When's Levy ever said I might be the problem? Me, the chairman, after 25 years.
When
I
does
might be the problem.
anyone- when does anybody do
So
that?
you want to question the manager's not saying it, but you don't question the chairman ever saying
when
it.
does
What
anybody?
chairman has ever sold a football club and said I was the problem at that club?
100% still. No, you're
So what's your point on talking about the managers not doing it then, Sean? What's the point you're trying to make?
because you're suggesting that because a manager says it wasn't me, it was him, that we should have to believe it.
No, I said every manager calls out this board when it comes to transfers.
Exactly. That's my fucking point, bro. What are we doing here?
Because they are-
Everybody
because
points
they-
their finger. Everybody
Right,
says
Can we,
it's
can
not
we
me,
calm it a
Gov.
little bit? Can we calm it a little bit, guys? Can we calm it a little bit? Can I try and bring this back to what we were actually talking about? Right? Thomas Frank is the manager now, right? Thomas Frank, by all, I don't know if Lubo agrees with me. Let me bring Lubo back in here. Right? By all accounts, from what Thomas Frank has said yesterday, is what everyone says they want. Right? They want somebody to push back on the recruitment team. They want somebody not to accept players that they don't want. Thomas Frank has done that, yet still getting pelters, still being called a yes man. For me, as I've said all along, let this guy get in it. Let him get his feet under the table. Let him educate the recruitment team, whether it's Lange or somebody else comes in. Let him educate the recruitment team on what Thomas Frank wants. You know what? And we might actually go somewhere. But what did people do immediately? Thomas Frank's a yes man because Ben Davies signed a new contract. It was nothing to do with Thomas Frank. But Frank's a yes man. You're like, well, hang on, what? That's nothing to do with Thomas Frank. Frank's a yes man because he's clearly not. He's clearly pushing back. He's clearly saying, I need to educate the club. Isn't that what we've been asking for, Lubo? Isn't this a positive?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what we've needed for ages. I think just listening to where Sean and Stella are coming from, Sean's talking more of a general situation regarding managers, be it Spurs managers, anybody's managers, about, if things don't work out. I think that Stell's talking about the lack of backing. And I don't think, we've got to the point now recently where, because of the increased revenue, there's more money being spent on transfers. So I'm not sure it's about how much Ange had. Was Ange back, just to touch very briefly, was Ange back because he had more money than anybody else? He was backed in the fact that he wanted Johnson and Solanke and he got them. Was he backed in terms of getting the right players? I don't know. Not sure. When you look at 18 players that cost 380 million, at an average of 21 million a player, are you going to build a championship Premier League team, challenging team on players that are averaging 20 million? Don't think so. Don't see that any team has, to be honest. So was Ange back? Yeah, given more money, but not spent correctly. I just think it. And then we come back to Frank, and I think Frank's doing it correctly. And we've had several shows with us. I've been on several shows over the last few weeks with Sav and Sean, where we've spoken about this lack of transfer activity. And it's funny, with the benefit of hindsight and with people coming out and saying stuff, you get a better idea of what's happening at Spurs. And I think this is why Spurs have not acted the way we expected them to act, because you look at it and you think, we're 17th, that is awful. We've won a European trophy. Now let's build on it. And we're looking at both of those points and saying, hang on a sec, we've bought two players and we've lost two. I know we didn't expect to lose Maddison, but we've lost Sonny. They must have known Sonny was going. Maddison is injury prone, has been injury prone. He'd been out the last 2 months of the season, and we didn't come in and buy a backup for Maddison either. So you look at it and you think, Jesus, what's going on? Well, now it appears that the recruitment team that have been working for months and months and months for this window, they've been working on players before Frank came in, or before Frank was even discussed. And Frank's come in and he's looked at it and he's probably kiboshed loads of suggestions from Lange. So I think we're probably at a position now where Frank, I think, is being given more leeway, more rope, more opportunity now to build the team and build a structure for the first team. He is just involved in the first team. He's not involved in the kids. I think that's Stuart Lewis who's running that. He is running the first team. And I think so far, I'm pleased with what he's doing. I fully expect, there'll be a lot of fans probably Wednesday night if we get hit for 5, which I fully expect, that will be shouting and screaming and moaning. But you know what? You've got to play a long game here. This is not a short game. This is a long game. We've got to get a really good recruitment team on the same level as the clubs above us, particularly Chelsea, particularly Monchi at Villa. They've got great recruitment people. Look what Liverpool are doing, and we are nowhere near them in terms of talented recruitment people at the club. So Frank's got to turn that round as well as turning around a team that's dropped from 5th to 17th in the last 12 months. He's got to turn around the recruitment side as well, because he's coming with his team, but he hasn't brought his recruitment guy with, and he's not brought his players with. That's Tottenham. So he's coming in and he's got to change both. And to me, what he said, I think the way you summed it up, Sean, was absolutely spot on. He's not happy with what he's being given, and he's having to sit and talk to the team about in depth about what he requires, and this is going to take time. So
Lubo,
I agree. I agree.
I disagree. I disagree. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it. Thomas Frank can want to change as much as he wants, right? Every manager at Spurs wants something to change in some way, shape, or form, right? Frank can want to change as much as he wants. Nothing will change unless Levy says, okay, we're going to change that because you've recommended it. If they listen to Frank, then it will change. But at the end of the day, they've got to listen to the manager. This has been the problem for a very long time. And if people think differently to that, we could have done this 6 years ago if we listened to Poch. We didn't want to listen. We could have done it when Conte was here. We didn't want to listen. If we listen to Frank, I'm all for it, guys. I want it to happen. I agree.
Yeah.
I hope they listen to him. But every manager in some way, shape, or form has wanted an element of change that hasn't happened. If
And they
Frank
say
makes
that
it happen,
after they've left the club, right?
Still, do you not still? Do you not?
Sean, do you agree? Do you agree that, and I accept this as well, we don't know what's said away from the press office, in the media. We don't know what they say. So I could be right, I could be wrong, same with you.
Same.
I believe, and yeah, you're right, I can't provide evidence to back it up. I can go by things that I see from the managers to give me an inclination, right?
Sure.
I believe behind the scenes, every manager has these conversations with the owner, with the recruitment team, and it's whether or not they want to listen to the manager more. And for me, if they listen to Frank more than what they've done to others, guys, brilliant. I agree. That's what we've all wanted. I agree.
Would you agree, though? The point I was trying to make for like 7 minutes was, in a nutshell, the only point I was trying to make, and I'm not even saying that the things that have been said are necessarily inaccurate or disingenuous. I'm just saying that in life, everybody, and if you've worked in an office, I'm sure anyone, there's 1,900 people watching this right now. If you work in an office, you'll have come into contact with people who are responsible for certain things, that when the responsibility for why things haven't worked out is on them, they're more likely to point fingers and blame someone else than say, I'm sorry. And I'm just like, the only point I've made, not to dismiss anything, it's just that there is a caveat in the noise and people that want to hear it will assume that because someone is saying what you want to hear, that confirms your bias against the owner. And I'm not saying that they're making it up. I'm just saying that it's possible that everybody that says it wasn't my fault, Gov, it was him over there, they're doing that because they want to protect their own brand, rather than saying, you know what, I was shit, I should have been fired. And on top of that, on top of that, if Daniel Levy's tenure is always in charge, he's always responsible for everything that happens at Tottenham, and every manager never gets their way, then how is it that we finished second in 2017 or 2018, third in 2017, and we got to 6 finals and 12 semi-finals, whatever it is, 25 quarterfinals? How did all of that happen if Daniel Levy isn't a football guy and he is responsible for everything that happens at the football club, and that the manager never gets their way? It doesn't make any sense.
Sean,
it doesn't stack up. It doesn't stack up.
What I agree with what you just said is every manager will protect their brand. And I think anyone who's earning ridiculous money, like these guys are, they're not just going to say, you know what, sod your contract, sod your club, I'm out. I've always wanted a manager to do that. I've always said, I hope this manager just throws his contract in the bin, comes out and publicly slams this ownership. Conte was the closest, but all of them, bar Conte, all of them have towed the line and they've waited. And you're right, Sean, you're right. They've all protected their brand. I agree.
But also towed the line in your opinion. You don't know if they towed the line. You don't know. None of us do. So you're talking from a place of an opinion that is indelibly marked in a narrative.
When Poch says, don't call me manager anymore, he's venting anger.
All right, but Poch also said I didn't get my players, and then David Pleat went on TalkSport and said said Poch was offered loads of players, he didn't want them, and then you guys would sit there and say he wasn't offered the players that he wanted, right? But that's, again, you're talking from the book in which you operate. You have the opinion, and you'll fit the story. Whatever noise comes out, you'll twist it.
Do you think if we offered Pochettino?
Do you think if we... Hang on a second. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying you don't know that you're right.
I know that I'm right, that when the manager says it's time for a painful rebuild, we need proper furniture for this new house, that he's crying out, guys, can we buy some good players for this club? He's crying out for it. That's how I interpret it.
But then and so if David Pleat hadn't gone on TalkSport and said what he said, there'd be no counterbalance to that argument. But David Pleat did come out and say those things. He said, actually, Poch was offered loads of players. He didn't want them. And the very thing that comes out next is, because it doesn't agree with the narrative, let's spin the narrative.
Sean, what players?
Exactly what? No, this was about Pochettino. He says exactly what players, right? So that's all I'm saying is I'm not saying you're wrong. Again, I don't care if you land on Levy out. I want to know how you get there. And when I see all of these little moments, these little tidbits of information, let's lean into Glenn Hoddle's book about Levy, because that must be true. Why would it be true? Because he said something I agree with, which is that Daniel Levy's a problem. Let's agree with what Pochettino's saying. Wait, what's that? David Pleat says that's not the case. Yeah, but he's not talking about what players. All you're doing is saying you're dismissing the things that possibly counteract, but none of us know the difference. None of us know what really happened. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Why does no manager that ever leave this club really say nice things about Levy and praise him? Why? Not one.
Loads of players do, though. There was a player yesterday.
Managers, Sean. Managers. Players don't get sacked. Managers. Why don't any of them say, do you know what?
Because
he was a really good boss. I'm so lucky.
Because when managers get sacked, they're not going to sit there and say he was right to sack me. Back to point one. It's natural human narrative.
Mourinho got sacked. He praised Abramovich to the hills.
Sorry?
Mourinho got sacked. He praised Abramovich to the hills.
What, after he won 7 trophies?
Yeah, but when he got sacked, he still praised the chairman. Why? Why doesn't anyone praise Levy? Why doesn't any manager ever come out and say, do you know what?
Because he'd won 7 trophies. Come on, mate. You're not an idiot.
Right. Because the chairman backed him, right?
No, because fair enough. Because that owner threw money before the rules were in place. Yeah, exactly. Come on, mate. Sure, it's not that. Sure. Anyway, we got 2 more topics to get through, guys.
So we can move it on. I could go on this. So could you? We can move it on. I'm cool. Then we can move it on.
Couple of super chats, and then we're going to talk about. Well, actually, if I'm entirely honest, this one's going to get even more spicy, and it's about the protests. All right. So before we get into that, Cap Funt is here. Big up to you, Cap Funt. He says, "I think Frank would love Paz and Savio in the team. Vuskovic being the same age and promising too. I think they would gel, but Eze is an instant fix." Look. I said it already. I don't know if you guys got any takes on this one you want to quickly jump into, but I think that Paz will be sensational. I really do. I really love him. But I'm also happy with Eze, someone of that ilk. I don't care. Pick your poison. Anyone got a take on a preference there quickly?
Just for me, I know I've followed Eze for years. Eze for me. Over to you, Sav.
Yeah, look, I like Paz, but again, it's signing a player that's had 1 year. He's had 1 year in a career and already being made to be this. I just want someone that comes in. I want someone that comes in, played in top leagues, has got experience. And the thing is, I know Savio's not old, but Savio's got that now. 2 years in a row now, he's played in a title challenge for Girona in La Liga and played for Man City, one of the best clubs in the world. So, there's a little bit there. But Paz for me is one to watch. But I mean, can you imagine what they're going to ask for Paz with a 50% down clause for Real Madrid?
Yeah, insane. Cracking player. But I actually agree with you. I agree with you, Sav. Like, Eze is the obvious one. And I think they won't be dissimilar in price. Mills has come in saying, big up to you, mate, 25 years of the same type of window. Don't you think Levy's scorecard for success is different than yours or mine? It will never change. Look, let's save that one, Mills, if you don't mind, because we're going to come into the you know what? I'm not even going to get involved in the next one. I'll let the three of you guys take on the protesting, but we'll save that one, Mills. But I appreciate you, mate.
Oh, and good. It's a nice 2v1.
Yeah, Sam, you're going to have to do a fucking good job, mate, to keep me quiet.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Good man. I'm ready. Hey, I'm gonna wait that way. I'm sending my energy towards you, bro. Handle it. Aussie Frank Lover as well has joined us as a new member. Thank you very much, Aussie Frank Lover. Appreciate you, buddy. Very, very cool of you. Look, we've got a lot of members, and we're going to be figuring out how to put out some members-only content as well very soon. But appreciate you all very much. There's still 1,800 people here, guys, watching. Very cool. Listen, be nice in the chat. Whichever way you think, just be nice and respectful. Right, the third segment of the show is Change for Tottenham.
Oh, fuck me.
Have decided to do The only thing I'll say is the very much predictable yet entirely ridiculous notion of a protest before the first game of the season.
You can't say ridiculous, Sean, because that means you're being biased now. You can't do that.
No, I am biased. I think the thing's fucking stupid.
Oh, no, fair enough. You've admitted it.
Yeah,
All right, then.
No,
I can't argue that.
I think the whole
I can't argue that.
I think the whole thing's fucking ludicrous.
That's what you really think. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Yeah,
I think it's fucking stupid. But I'm not going to get involved in this one unless I really have to. Sab, you've got a really fucking strong job in your hands. Luba, I'll let you start, mate. What's going on with that one?
What's going on with this change for Tottenham? I think it's been motivated by the lack of transfer activity this summer. Again, just going over old ground that I spoke about a few minutes ago, and we've spoken about for the past hour. That 17th, expected more. Europa League winners in the Champions League. We didn't kick on. We expected more. I think we're finding out now from Frank. He's putting across very nicely why. My feeling towards, let me say Enoch. Let me say Enoch, because Levy's a 30% partner of Enoch. That I want change. I want people who know about sport, understand sport, and are motivated to get Spurs as high as they possibly can. And for that reason, I think that Levy's had the best job going outside of playing for the last 24 years. Personally think he's let us down badly over the 24 years with the way that there's not been any sort of strategy. In it, I've spoken about the Ajax model where they stick to the same system of playing. They bring in professionals to come in and who know the club, who understand the club and the culture and run it. We've done nothing. He's had nobody on the board. I think the last person on the board who knew what he was doing was Martin Peters, who was with Alan Sugar. And I just think he's done so much wrong because listen, for him and his side and the non-footballing side, fantastic. You called him a genius the other day, Sean. He's done brilliantly. They've invested 250 million. They get 3 billion. It's 12 times. Absolutely wonderful, fantastic figures. On the football side, he has lost an absolute fortune on the timing of transfers, the timing of buying and selling, not buying and selling, buying rubbish, going for cheaper players because that's the model. He's done so much that's wrong. He's not been accountable, and I think that's wrong. And I blame Lewis for that because Lewis is the senior partner. And for me, I just want change now. I want people to come in and buy the club who are committed to footballing success as they are to making a profit. Because no one's going to come in and spend 3 or 4 billion unless they're worth God knows what, and it's a hobby like it was for Abramovich and for Mansour. If we get one of those, as a fan, we're very lucky, fantastic, that's great. But for me personally, looking at it realistically, I want someone to come in who wants success, as much success on football as they want on keeping the club sustainable, stretch the club, don't be reckless, but stretch it. So for me, nothing's changed. I want Enoch out. Change for Tottenham could be many things, can be many things, and it needs change for Tottenham to actually break down what they actually mean coming into this season.
Okay, no.
It
means many things.
Will you be there Saturday, Sean?
Of course.
For your fourth protest.
Of course.
Yeah. Should we do
Saba, let me. Sorry, Stel. Just to break it up, the narrative. Saba, do me a favor here, bro. Explain to the world why it's mistimed.
I think the difficulty is when I say about the not protesting, all I get is, oh, you must be Levy in, or Sava's changed to Levy in. I'm not. I've asked every single person that talks to me about protesting. I keep asking the same set of questions and no one's given me a succinct answer. not one person's given me a succinct answer as to what does any of this mean. Like, what is it you're trying to achieve? You're basically, what Lubo said there is, I'm ENIC out. We want new owners. Cool. So you're protesting for the owners of a £3.5–4 billion company. You're protesting for them to put the club up for sale. That's essentially what this is. So let's not mask it that it's changed for Tottenham, because I mean that's just the most generic thing I've ever heard. What does that mean? Like no one can actually tell me what does change for Tottenham mean? Do we want a new chairman?
Yeah.
But the same owners, right? If so, you could argue the point that isn't it the owners that are putting the forcing the strategy down? I don't, just saying, you could argue it. I don't know. I've said the same thing about the protests all along, Sean. Said the same thing. I've got any of these guys that want to protest. I'm not saying don't do it. I've never told, I've never said to Stel or Lubo, I've never said to any of those guys, you're idiots, you're wasting your time. I just think for me, I'd be wasting my time. Right? I think for me, I'd be wasting my time. You don't protest once they've done what they set out to do. You protest before they've done what they're going to do what they set out to do. But what's happened is everyone's now waited for these guys to join the club. Yeah. Like any good business, they've got a roadmap, right? Of A to Z, of what that means and what each milestone means. They've executed that brilliantly, right? Again, from the business side, they've executed that brilliantly. The football club is now worth anywhere near 4 billion. And yet I can't get an answer from anyone as to, one, when they're all there, there's so many multiple different songs. Is it changed for Tottenham? Is it Levy out? Are you singing about Kulusevski? Like, I don't quite know what it is. Second of all, what are you hoping for? Right? What are you hoping for? Are we hoping that the protest happens and then Daniel Levy and Charrington and Vinay and Lewis and whoever all turn around and sit around in a board meeting and go, guys, the pressure's got a bit much. Let's sell what we've worked 25 years to build. And I've said this before, time and time again. Any good businessman, and by the way, these are good businessmen and women. Whichever way we look at it, these are good businessmen and women. Take your Spurs football hat off. They are good businessmen and women. They will have an exit plan. They will have an exit date, and they will have an exit strategy because they're bloody good at what they do. Yeah? Forget whether you like what they've done on the football pitch. No billionaire goes into a project of this magnitude without a exit date. Now, that might change, right? That exit date doesn't have to be set in stone. But if anybody thinks that protesting down the high street is going to make them suddenly put the club up for sale, I can't see it. I'm not knocking it. Crack on. But that's why I won't go. I feel like it's a real futile point. You see Daniel Levy in these interviews. This is not a man that's worried. This is not a man. Look, when Gary Neville asked him about the stick he gets, Daniel Levy's like, well, I get it. Maybe when I'm gone, they'll see. They are doing what they set out to do. I don't like it. Many people don't like it. But I need somebody, maybe one of these two on the panel that can tell me what's the metric for how successful the protests are. Yeah. And how will you know it's the protest that done it? Because we're already hearing rumors that they're going to sell. So if they turn around in the next year or sell, are we going to say it was the protest that done it? Or is it the fact that we've been speaking to Saudi business people for a year? I genuinely don't know. Sorry. I don't get it.
Just as quickly, before I bring Stell in, as soon as Donna Maria Cullen stepped down, they took credit for that, even though it was a year in the making. As much as I respect what Change for Tottenham represents, and I have absolutely no issue with anyone going to protest. I've been to every protest. I will support any right to a protest. I'm very much on board with that. I think that this particular one, and I'll still be there. I'll be there, capturing because content has to content. But I think that the reality is that for me, I asked the poll I asked the poll. So I'll give you the first. I'll let you go where you want to go with it. But
Hang on,
the first
I
question
hadn't
I'll
finished.
ask you.
I had one more sentence. Sorry, I had one more sentence.
Oh, I'm
just
sorry,
to-
mate. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right, man. It's not a problem.
Sorry.
I
I
just
thought you
want to
finished.
say, I've seen lots of people in the chat saying, so your solution is to do nothing. It's not my solution. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me what the solution is about the protests. That's what I'm asking for. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. If anything, they're kicking on with their plans. They're buying golf clubs. They're building hotels. Nothing has changed.
Winning trophies.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm asking what it is. Second of all, I just want on a side note to that, right? I just want to know, why on earth are we going to do this for the first day of a brand new season in our home ground? The new manager and coaching staff and the new players, their first trip to White Hart Lane for a meaningful game, and they're going to see protests outside the ground. I just think it's all sorts of wrong, and I think it sets an awful tone for the start of the season. That's just me. It's just me. I'm not angry about it.
Sam, I agree with you. I respect
I
the
think
right
it's
to
crazy.
protest. I respect the right to protest. I'll be there. I always do. I've always. So Stel, my question to you is the same question I just asked the poll, by the way. And for what it's worth, just for the Savinho debate, it ended up with 88% of people that were only happy with Savinho, the last one. They had a monster poll, bigger than your poll earlier, Sab. And it had still 12% people saying that
That's
they weren't
massive
interested.
approval rating. 88% is massive. That's brilliant.
It is, but there's 12% of Tottenham fans that are not interested in Savinho. Just quickly, the question that I've just asked, and I just set the thing up still, is the question was: would you support a protest regardless of the timing or the circumstance? And at the moment, there's 215 votes, and it's about 60-40 in favour of no, they wouldn't. And so we'll see how that develops. But I'll ask you the same question because I believe that the people that are the vehemently like very much the same way you guys feel, I think it doesn't matter the circumstance. I think any chance to get together a group of people that feel the same way and hope that everyone else jumps on board will join in, and that's a good thing. And my question to you, Stel, is: do you at least accept that there is a double-edged sword to the idea of protesting in an environment that is not necessarily justifying it? Because if we've still got 3 weeks left on the window, which we will have, if Tottenham Hotspur do sign Savinho before the protest on Saturday, then I think that you might find the reality that only 50 people turn up, like they did in the last protest that Lubo and I got to. And so consequently, my question is, like, is there a good time, or is every time a good time to go and protest? Because I think that if you protest now, having signed Savinho in that environment, and 50 people, 60 people turn up, but the vast majority of people go, "What are you doing? We just won a trophy. Shut up." Then that is going to end up backfiring on Change for Tottenham.
Okay, there's a few questions here. There's a few, right? You've got what is the point of the protests? You've got is there a right time to protest? And you've got the whole notion of protesting. So I'm gonna break it all down for you because I am one of the original protesters from YouTube. Me and Brian Daigle, the original YouTube protesters. The original protesters weren't on YouTube or doing podcasts. They started it before Brian and I got involved. It's very difficult to time a protest because the big criticism of the previous protests were you're disorganized, it's not clear, and Change for Tottenham are more organized than anything we've had before. One of the things you need to be organized is early communication to ramp up the noise, to ramp up as many people hearing about the protests. And then you've got the week to promote it on the socials, get on the YouTube channels and whatnot. Now, the risk of that is if something big happens, like signing Savinho before the protest, you hurt the protest now because numbers will drop off because, hold on a minute, we've just signed Savinho. What are we doing here? But if you don't organize the protest early, you don't get the numbers. So it's a very difficult thing to do. I get why they're organizing today. They're going by what we've done so far as a club, not where we might end up. And you have to do that if you want numbers. And that's the risk you take. If we sign Savinho on Thursday or Friday, yeah, I think it hurts the protest numbers. I do. So we're going to have to wait and see on that one. The reason you protest is because you want change, right? My change is straightforward. I want the chairman gone and I want Enoch gone. That's my change. There's some people that protest that think the board will change their ways. They just need to reshuffle. There's others last season who just wanted Ange gone, and that was their version of change. But the majority are there for Levy out. That's why they have the Levy and Enoch out scarves. Sava, I'm going to say it as it is, and we can have a little ding dong. It's all love at the end of the day. I think you're a joker on this, and I'm going to tell you why. You sit there, right, saying, I don't mind, right? I don't mind if you protest, but I'm going to diminish and belittle the protests every chance I get. No, we don't talk about it on my show. No, we're not doing it. You make
sorry,
videos.
you mean I said that once?
Let me finish, and then
yeah, sure, but if you're going to finish, at least start by saying something truthful. Don't lie from the
no, I am being truthful. You haven't let me finish. You make shorts and videos. Levy, you've got to do this. Levy, you've got what? You think your videos are going to do anything? What are your videos doing? But yet you want to question what the protest.
Why are you a YouTuber then, you clown?
Let me finish.
Why are you being a clown
finish.
and being a YouTuber?
You're getting, look how triggered you're getting, bro. Let me finish my point.
You started this off by calling me a joker, so I call you a clown.
Yo, I said you're a joker on this. You are. When it comes to this, you're a joker.
But you're a clown on this.
Okay, Sava, if I can't finish, there's no point.
You're wearing a Tottenham t-shirt. You pay to go into the stadium.
I get a £30 free voucher.
You've got a YouTube channel. But
can I finish my point? You're talking over me. You're talking.
Go on, Stel. Finish, and then Sav gets his right reply.
I think it's a joker thing to do, to sit there belittling the protest,
not belittling,
doubting them. Let me finish.
Hang on, Stel.
Right, belittling them and doubting them. Yet you think your videos and shorts are going to push the needle. What do? At the end of the day, the protests, I'll tell you what they've done. They've created all the traction that Talk Sport are now talking about. They discuss it on the overlap. It's discussed across the whole YouTube community. In that same video that Gary Neville did with Daniel Levy, Neville said to him, "Do the protests ever bother you?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm a human. They get to me." Daniel Levy is 100% triggered. The board 100% rattled by the negativity because it affects the reputation and the look on the club. The issue we've got with the protest is simple. Unless we get a far greater number that really causes a racket. When I mean racket, I don't mean flipping cars upside down on the high road. I mean a real disruption where the club is such a toxic place. Then, yeah, we're not going to get them out. But when you do the big numbers, we've seen Man United getting Sir Jim Ratcliffe to purchase shares and the Glazers selling up. We've seen Everton fans
had no bearing on it.
Get a change of ownership. We've seen Newcastle fans for years and years.
Had no bearing on any of that shit. What are you talking about?
This is now waffle.
Can I finish?
Now waffle.
Can I finish, please? Can I finish? Can I finish?
You can.
Well, then let me finish.
Let me finish. What he's saying.
It's nonsense because I don't like the truth. Right?
No, it's bollocks. Absolute bollocks. No, you can finish. Carry on. But just know you're let him finish. Go on, Stel.
I'm waiting for you to finish so I can finish.
Finish.
So we've seen Newcastle, years and years and years of protesting. They eventually get my cashy out. The issue we've got at Spurs is we don't get more than 2,500. If we get 10,000 rocking that stadium, walking out of that stadium, causing a disruption outside the stadium in terms of the regular fan can't get into the shop. They can't. It's not easy for them to get past the big crowds of protesters to go and have their experience. This is the issue we've got. Not enough people want to protest at Spurs. And by the way, they're allowed to not protest. However, to question it and then to want change at the same time, sorry, the only ones that have created any traction, any kind of disruption are the protesters. They're the only ones that are actually trying to do something. Whether it's working or not, we can have a great debate on it.
You're advocating
but if we get the numbers...
He's called me out. Let me go back on this. He's called me out. Let me go back on this.
Go on.
First and foremost,
I'm coming in next.
For a YouTuber to say to another YouTuber, what are your YouTube videos going to do is fucking poor form. Absolutely pathetic.
Why?
I'll call you out for your shameless, absolute waffle nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. So as a YouTuber, I'm not allowed to vent my frustrations because I don't protest But in the same sentence, people are not allowed to protest. That's fine.
That's not
Well,
what I said.
those two things can't be true at once. That's absolutely
what I said.
fucking ridiculous.
That's not
Right?
what I said.
But that is what you've implied.
No, it's
That's
not.
what you implied. Because I make videos but don't protest. As I've said before, you answered it, right? You answered it with, you want Enoch and Levy out. I've asked the question, right, that no one has still given me any answer to. So is this protest going to make the club sell quicker than they want to, right? That's not how companies worth 4 billion operate. They don't operate on the proviso that some people aren't happy, let's sell, because everything is going according to plan for them. This is what I've said. I've not belittled the protests. I literally said about 10 times. So before Stell called me a joker. Mate, you're just a fucking waffler, mate. You're waffling, right?
No, you have bashed the protesters, Sava. I watched you do it. You bashed them.
I have not bashed the protesters. I've literally said, when I did a video earlier, I said, fair play. Whoever wants to protest, knock yourself out, go for it. But I don't think it does anything. So far, I've not seen any evidence that it does do anything, right? Now let's look at those. Let's look at those examples that you gave, right? Let's look at the examples. But everyone's saying I'm belittling the protest. I genuinely
Don't worry about the chat, Sav. Don't forget the chat.
I'm worried about the clown below you, mate. About the chat. I'm talking about him there. This is absolute waffle, right? He uses Newcastle. He uses Newcastle as an example, which shows he's not done his homework. He's not done his homework in any way, shape, or form. It's ridiculous. Newcastle United was worth £330 million.
And it took how many years to get rid of?
Hang on. Let me, right? Newcastle United is worth £330 million. In business terms, selling something that's £330 million that is purely a football stadium and a football club, you can do it like that. That's not a problem, right? As everyone keeps pointing out, this isn't just a football club. This isn't just a football club. We've got all the entities that go with it. You've got all of the deals, the partnerships, the sponsorships that go with it. This is a business. Whether we like it or not, this is a business that's worth nearly £4 billion. So this notion that it's like Newcastle, it's nothing like Newcastle. It's nothing like Man United. Man United have sold 25% stake in the club. As per Stell and Lubo's words just now, that's not what they want. They wanted the owners out completely. So using the Man United, okay, but that's not what you said. You said you want Enoch and Levy out.
We've got to start somewhere.
Hang on, right? Sure, but you said you wanted Enoch and Levy out.
Yeah.
Then it's but look at what Man United done. Man United have done that, and their fans are well unhappy. Man United's fans are well unhappy, right? Most of the United fans I speak to wanted it to be a kind of all or nothing. So as I said, feel free to protest. I've got no problem with it. In my opinion, and so far I've not seen anything to prove that I'm wrong in this. I've not seen that it will change anything. Also, you've said, you said something brilliant just now, Stell, right? You said something brilliant just now. You turned around and said, your idea of change is this. Somebody else's idea of change is that. But this is the problem. If you've got a movement, the idea has got to be the same. You've got people walking down that high street singing a song about Kulusevski, which for me completely waters down anything they're singing about. You've got some people going, no, I don't want to leave you out. I just want change. Other people want the owners out completely, right? I'm all for, as I've said a million times, I'm all for Enoch and Levy going. Yeah? I'm all for them thinking they've taken us to their point.
So why don't you support the protest then?
Stell, support it in what way?
By saying, guys, you know what? This is a really good thing. There's fans finally standing up and saying enough's enough, and they're trying to voice their opinion to get it in the media, to get the debate going, to have it a constant conversation, to upset the board, and to get the numbers big enough where we can have a real impact, because we haven't got the numbers yet. Why don't you push for it then? Promote it if you want change.
Because still, you don't get it. I believe it's futile. This is the point. I've never seen.
That's the problem.
No, but you're saying it's a
Why
problem.
is it a problem?
Okay, can somebody right now, can anybody in the chat,
because Savin wants them out.
No,
but he's not prepared to back the biggest movement that's trying to get them out.
Hell, name me one owner of any football club in the footballing league that has left that have sold their club as a primary and direct relationship to protests, you can't. I'll save you the
How
trouble.
many?
You gave
I'm gonna ask you a
Newcastle
question.
United. Hang on a second, mate. You gave Newcastle United as your secondary example. It took, what was it, 11 years for Mike Ashley to leave the club?
Yes.
11 years. He didn't leave because of the protests, mate. Shock horror. He left because no one paid him the money. That's it. They don't give a fuck
No,
about
he tried
your
to sell it, and the FA blocked the deal. If you remember,
Mate, what are you talking about?
the FA blocked the
my
deal.
God.
They said the new ownership didn't meet certain criteria.
Even if they did, you're inferring the fact that the Newcastle's noise.
Yeah.
Manchester United.
They told him, "Get out. We don't want you here. Sell up." And he said, "You know what? I've had enough. I don't want to be here." Fine.
He was around for 11,
so I'm going to ask the question.
years.
Because it took them so long
chat,
to ramp
What
it up.
are you
Sean.
talking about, mate? What are you
Someone
talking
in the
about?
chat
Our
or someone on this
protests have been
channel.
going on for 7-8 years, Sean. It takes time.
Oh, fuck off. Your protests have had 30 people until Change for Tottenham took over.
This is the first year, but last year was the
All they
first year
did
we
was
had
put
2,000
lipstick on a
people,
fuck-
Sean.
All they
Sean,
did was put lipstick on a pig, mate.
Sean, this protest was so significant that you turn up to do content now, mate. You weren't there doing content when there was 100 of us.
I wasn't a content creator when there was 100 of you, mate.
Sean, how long have you been Spurs talk show for?
3 years?
We were, so you were a content creator.
I had like
You were a
2,000
content creator.
subscribers. You think I gave a shit about...
We got your attention, Sean. We got you involved to come along and publicise it.
No,
That's the
Change
point
for,
of it.
Change for Tottenham were a little way for me to put up a couple of videos, mate, when I got to 25,000 subs. Promise
you
you, bro.
did it.
When I was at 2,000 and 5,000, I
So
didn't
you're
give a
all right
fuck.
coming along for content, but it's the
Yeah,
protests that have got
100%.
you
I'm
involved.
shameless. I'm shameless. Embarrass
And
me all you
Sean,
want. You're not going to embarrass
and that's
me,
what
mate.
we need more of. We need more of that. We need more people doing what you're doing.
No, but
Because if
funnily
we got
enough,
to 10,000,
every
15,000,
single person that I interviewed didn't have the same approach that you do, where Levy's responsible for everything.
No. Now we're moving off of protesting onto you're trying to change the argument to me blaming Levy for everything.
Listen,
I'm talking
for the
purely
sake
about
of
the
simplicity,
protesting.
I don't want to get involved.
Is anyone going to answer my question?
Let's have a get back involved.
Can I
Let's have-
answer you, Stav? Can I answer what Stav's on?
Hang on, do you know which question I'm talking about?
Because the one where you said nobody's given me an answer.
No. The one that I was trying to. Can someone please name me, anyone in the chat or anyone on this panel, when a company worth £4 billion, there's been a protest, and because of the direct actions of that protest, the business has been sold? That's
Great
all
question.
I'm asking. So,
Great
but
question.
because before I'm told, it's because people like you don't promote it. Show me the examples where it's worked, and I'll get on board. No one can give me an answer. No one, like Change for Tottenham. So can I tell you why I don't think this is right? Right? Can I tell you why I don't think this is right? Right? They've used the Daniel Levy quote of "I want to win leagues and Champions Leagues," and then you followed up with broken promises. Daniel Levy didn't promise that we're going to win the league or the Champions League. They've used a quote from the overlap on their thing. I think it's a bit disingenuous, and they've done it again. The timing stinks for me. The first day of the season. Surely this is meant to be a bit of a feel-good factor. New manager going into a new campaign, and yet we're going to have thousands of people going down the high street. You ever thought that maybe? What about some of the football?
You won't have thousands.
What,
You won't
what
have
are we
thousands.
doing
Hang on.
here?
Hang on,
We've just
Steve.
spent like weeks
Can I
and weeks
talk?
and weeks
Can I
moaning
talk?
about transfers.
Can I talk? I've let you and Sean just have a row for about 15 minutes. Can I talk?
I wasn't 15 minutes, Sav. It was that 30 seconds from me, bro. Let's be real here.
Right,
I'm
okay,
not worried about
whatever-
this topic. What are we doing?
Whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. You ever thought that we all talk about, look at these footballers who want to come and look at these want to come, people to buy us. Do we want them seeing that we're in utter disarray? Right? You're going to protest off the back of winning a Europa League and the first game of a new season. It just doesn't sit right with the taste of it doesn't sit right with me. And I will wait. Can someone give me an example of when it has worked? I will wait.
I can do it. There's never been a £4 billion club where fans are pissed off with the club. So how can we have an example? It's never existed because no club worth $4 billion, the fans are upset with it. All the big clubs are happy with their owners. But we're the only high value club where we're fucked off with the owner, Sava. Because our owners have done magnificently.
Maybe you shouldn't be. How about that?
No, but we are a very unique club where we've got fantastic owners in terms of the accumulation of assets and valuation and building up the portfolio of Tottenham Hotspur, but on the pitch, it's hugely dissatisfying. Most
To
clubs
you-
that have these kind of
to you-
valuations
to you-
are good
to
on
you
the
it
pitch. Sean.
To you, it is. To you, it is.
Hang on,
But let's be 1 second, Sam. Come on,
No,
mate.
but
Dude,
most
fans
fans that are fed up with
I'm
this.
getting really frustrated.
I'm having the word it. I've been pretty
Sava's
quiet.
question's impossible to answer. You can't answer. It's an impossible question to answer.
Trying to get some sort of converse going, and it's really, really tough. It's really tough. Really tough. The point of this is, right? The point is, in life, I can't remember when I've seen anything like this happen. Because when you get to that level of power, right, we're assuming that the board are going to turn around and go, we've had enough, we're selling. But like Lubo always says, on the business side, look how well they're doing for themselves. Do you really think they're going to turn around because a few thousand people protest and they're going to say, right, we're selling right now? We're hearing rumors that they might be selling. But
right, if we get the large numbers, the huge numbers, you make their position untenable, because what will happen, and I've said this many a time on Tottenham Away, and I'll repeat myself, if you have a massively vocal, dissatisfied, well-organised protest outside and inside, what happens is the box holders pick up the phone to corporate and say, this isn't the atmosphere I'm bringing my clients to do business with, guys. Sort it out or we're out. The stakeholders, the shareholders, the Knights, the sponsors say, guys, this ain't a good look on us. We give you millions, and what is this? The NFL, guys, we've got our NFL brand. We're not associating with a club that is constantly negative in the press. Levy, that we can't have these associations. But to get to that level, we need far greater numbers than 2,000. 2,000
what
creates
number
the
does it?
conversation. But to force real change at the top, whether it's a complete change of operation towards the football or for them to start selling up, we need to get to a place where the stakeholders say, Daniel, this ain't for us, mate.
I just don't think this is how it works. This is the difference between me and you.
That's exactly how it works. You manage them out.
This is not. You can't tell me for definite this is exactly how it works because we've not seen it. Right. So again,
well, we've seen it at other clubs where there's big protests. Sava, Everton, Man United, they forced change. They forced it.
But when you're saying they forced change, Man United forced a 25% stake, and they're really unhappy with that 25% that's taken over.
They are now.
Right?
They are now. But we might be unhappy if there's a change of ownership. I've said we don't know what the next owner would be like. But the point is, if you don't want Levy and Enoch here, you don't want them here. And that's what most people go to the protest for. And I'm lucky. I'm not lucky.
Okay, so you can ask a question then.
Yeah,
so why are you all down there all singing different songs? Whenever they're interviewed, everyone's given a different answer as to what they actually want. Surely you can see it's not a lie.
No, they don't. I go to the protest. I know so many of the protesters, so many, and the majority want this ownership to sell up. The majority. You get some there last year who just wanted Ange out, and there's some that want the board to change. They want the board to start, as you call it, let's behave like a big club. They want to see that. But most people there at the protest, I'd say, Lubo can back me up or tell me what he thinks because he goes, I would say 60 to 70% are Levy out at that protest.
So not Enoch out, Levy out.
Levy and Enoch.
Right, okay. So here's my thing. So here's my thing. Right? Here's my thing. If it works, right? How will I be able to know that it was a direct action of the protests rather than an exit strategy? Because when you're talking about this is exactly how it works, this is how business works, this is what stakeholders do. Well, take it from me in a business perspective, they've got an exit strategy. They are going to sell that club when one of two things happen. The date that they've decided they're going to sell, or the magic number gets hit by somebody that comes in away from that date and offers them. Right? That's how these big businesses that put these projects together work. So for me, I think it's futile. Everyone's welcome to go and do it. But I'm getting a little bit bored of being told, oh, you can't, oh, you must like Levy and Enoch then if you don't protest. Well, if that's the case, then what we're saying is only 2,500, 3,000 people don't like Levy and Enoch. That's not true. But
no,
a lot of people...
my issue isn't that. My issue is that I've seen you many a time where you talk down the protests and you talk them down in a way where I'm thinking, Well, what camp are you in? If you want change, this is the biggest movement.
That's the problem.
No, but the protest is hands down the biggest movement that's trying to force some kind of change.
How is it trying to force change? That's what I don't get. No one
Explain
can
to you
tell me.
how. I've explained to you how.
Yeah, but none of it makes sense. Like what? Oh, okay, let me ask
Because
you.
we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Okay,
We haven't
so-
got the numbers. We need
so
more
from the-
numbers.
From the protests
Sava, less
last
than
season,
2%. Sava, less than 2% of the match day fans are at the protest.
Sure.
98% of fans don't.
Let
get
For a reason.
So let me ask you then. So
Sure, for a reason, I agree.
For a reason. Not
I agree
everyone
with you.
feels the way that you guys
4%.
do.
4%.
from the protests last season, what's been the outcome so far?
Well,
We won the Europa League, right?
No, that's not what I'm asking. From the protests, what has changed? That's what I'm asking.
well,
Can I
We
come in?
could.
So let me answer this.
yeah,
one.
go. Let Lubo go. Let Lubo go.
Let me answer this one.
I've spoken loads.
In terms of what has changed and are you going to push out the ownership, I think, let me start with your first question, Sav. I think that Lewis is 88. From what I'm reading, from what I'm hearing, they want to sell. So there is a desire there to sell.
So why are you protesting then?
They've invested.
Why are you protesting then?
They've invested 250.
So they can take credit for the thing when it happens.
Guys,
so.
let Lubo finish. Let him finish his point.
Right, they've invested 250. If they walk away with 3 billion, they've 12 times their investment.
Sure.
So if you're saying why would they want to walk away, well, I must tell you so. You know, if I'm 88, I'm coming towards the last few years of my life. If I'm 62 and I can walk away with £1 billion, then I'm thinking, do you know what? No one knows at this age, and I live my life. I try and live my life to the full. I'm 67. Levy's 62. You don't know. None of us. The older you get, the more open to.
I agree, but you haven't, Lubo. You've not addressed the issue of what have the protests done. You've just told me they'll sell. You've agreed with me. They will sell when they hit a number. That's what I said. So now,
Sava, it's got everyone talking about the
the
owner. It's got everyone talking about Levy, pointing the finger at Enoch. It's got everyone now saying there is a problem in that board. You've got Talk Sport, Sky Sports, the overlap.
Only that one time.
Even
Only that
channels
one
like
time.
Last Word on Spurs for
Only
years
that
and
one
years and
time.
years. I always say,
That one
Ricky,
time.
debate. When are you going to do something? He's now going to the protest.
Yeah,
It's
that
done
one
is it's got
time, one
people
time.
to try and take action.
What you're
One
trying to do.
time.
Still.
One time. Do you think that Talksport are going to turn up on Saturday, the fucking 12th of the
They
7th
talk
of
about
August?
Levy every week now, Sean. What are you talking about?
They've always talked about Levy. He's the most talked about chairman in the Premier League.
And it's the protests that are driving that.
Oh, do me a fucking favour. What are you talking about? The protest takes credit every time anything happens.
The
Do me a
protests aren't
fucking
just the
favour.
people walking outside the
What are you
stadium. The
talking
protests are the
about?
fans who in the stands were
Well,
chanting,
I
"We
went to the
want
pro- I went
Levy
to the
out.
first
We want
protest.
Levy out." They're the
I-
protesters, Sean. There's
Yeah,
there's
well
Okay,
protesters
so I
done,
don't
well done.
protest by not
Well
paying
done.
you.
And well done to them. Well done to them, right?
Yeah, but
They
you're
got
Levy
two-
in, Sean. You back Levy at every
I'm
juncture.
not
I expect
Levy
you to
in.
back. Yes, you are. Come
Where
on.
do you come from with that? I'm not Levy
Because
in.
you never show the same energy to bash Levy, but when it comes to defending him,
And do
you've
you
got
watch
so
my
much
channel,
energy.
Phil? Do you watch my
Yes,
content?
yes.
You watch my individual content.
You're relaxed in criticising Lee.
No. You're so
You've got
wrong.
high energy in
As
defending
are
him.
the 1,800 people that are watching this who think that I always defend. I've said this 1,000 times.
Because why
of
do you
those
think they
people-
say that, Sean? Why do you think they say that?
Because they don't watch my content. They see me
do.
on Sabbath channel. They see
You
me
get good
on
numbers, bro. They watch you.
If they watch me on my content when it's just me on a monologue, they'll see that I criticize Daniel Levy more than I praise him.
But it's
It's
a
only
different
when
energy.
it's only when I hear these
Right.
absolutely ridiculous.
Can I finish
my
what I'm
point?
saying?
Yeah, let's
Oh,
let
you-
Lubo finish.
Sorry.
Can I finish what I'm
No,
saying?
yes, you can, but just for what it's worth, I would love for once to hear any one of you to say, "Can you let Sean finish, please?" Because I've been interrupted every time I've spoken tonight. It's ridiculous. But go on, Lubo, finish your point.
So what I'm hoping is that if Lewis wants out, and he is the senior shareholder, that hopefully, the protests are not individually in isolation going to make them leave. But if they're thinking about it, it might just push things on a little bit quicker. And that's what, for me personally, that's what I'm hoping for. If it also means that we get us, from what we were told a few weeks ago, that we've got Saudis coming in with to buy stadium rights, and it's the first part of the buyout, then fantastic. Do it gradually. But maybe they'll look at it and think, you know what, we're earning very well. We're taking 12 times. Let's just move on. I can't be asked. We've got protests as well. Got maybe sponsors coming on, picking up the phone. Why is all this going on? Do we need the aggravation?
But that's hope, isn't it, Lubo? That's hope. I've heard you and Stel both say this, but you're hoping that sponsors are picking up the phone and saying that. All I'm seeing in reality, right? This is the point for me, right? And honestly, what fucks me off about this subject more than anything is that I've got absolute idiots like that Alex who literally can't stop just praising Stel in the chat, which is fine, right? But going, I don't know where Savas sits with Levy and Enoch. What? Because I don't protest. Cool. Okay. So everyone that has a go, there's thousands in here. Are all of these people at the protest? Right? It makes me laugh. Everyone who sits and says, go to the protest, are all of these people going to the protest? No, they're not. Right? The problem you've got here, right? This is the problem you've got, right? If anybody actually listens to what I say, I know this is a magic microphone. If anyone listens to what I say, I don't want Levy and Enoch here. That doesn't mean I think protests work. I don't think protests work, right? My job as well as a YouTuber, by the way, I cover the Spurs games, right? So when you should go to the protest, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Cool. Well, if I do that, I'm not working, right? Also, I don't pay them, right? It's funny. I get mocked so much. I'm not giving them any money. You three give them money. I don't give them money, right? That's fine. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but everyone's got their own definition of what Levy and Enoch out means to them and to what protests actually mean. Problem is, if you don't believe in the protests, if we were protesting to get out, an owner who owned a £100 million football club, not your socks off, we could do it like that. But we're protesting, right? We're protesting. Alex, just so you know, in the chat, I will keep timing you out if you keep being rude about me, mate. It's that simple, Alex.
Sava.
This one guy.
I've got people calling you. Sava, I've got people.
No, Sean, it's not the point. It's Alex going at me every single show I'm on it.
I've got 500 people calling me a dickhead, mate. I don't care.
Sean, I know, Alex. That's what's annoying. Alex, listen. Anyway, right?
Sean, just ignore the chat. Carry
Sean,
on.
just let me go. I don't need advice on this, right? They have built this club to the point of nearly £4 billion. All of the partnerships with the F1, all of the partnerships with the concerts, all of the partnerships with the NFL and the boxing, DAZN or whoever that is, all of the food partnerships, the drink partnerships, the fucking Coke partnerships, the bag partnerships, right? These are still going on, but yet I'm being told to believe that these protests are making sponsors not happy. I'm seeing more partnerships than ever are actually being formed.
No, more. Never said that. They've never said that. We said.
Lubo just said that. It's not you. It's not about you. Lubo just said that, right?
More and
more partnerships are being formed, right? They are being formed. Every single week, Spurs seem to be announcing something. So I don't see that these protests that we're saying, I'll tell you what it's done this. It hasn't. Hasn't done anything, and it won't. They will sell. Lubo, you've just said.
Lubo's wrong. Lubo's wrong in what he said.
What?
Wrong. Lubo's wrong. We haven't. He is. We haven't got the numbers yet to make the real difference with the stakeholders. We haven't. We need a far greater number.
Is that maybe because it's not because Sava doesn't support your... Sava's not the problem. Maybe it's just that you guys are caught up in some little fucking weird ecosystem, an
no,
echo
Sean,
chamber
no,
where
no,
you spend all
no,
your time
no.
listening to
Every
people.
YouTuber shitting on
Leaving
the
Leavy
window.
out, but not in the right way for these guys.
No,
so because
no,
I'm not the
no,
right
no,
type
no,
of
no,
Levy out
And
for these
Saba,
guys.
what sort of
I know
person
you're
am
trying
I?
to twist
I'm the
this,
problem.
right?
I'm the problem. Maybe you guys are just
Not
not as fucking
protesting.
popular with your opinion as you think you are.
Not protesting, I promise you, won't change anything. Not protesting, right? If you're a fan of any football club and you've had enough, you want to support your team. I'm not leaving my team. I was here before them.
Stel. So let me. I've got to chime in here, because I've sat back and listened, mate, and I couldn't give a flying.
What do you want us to do then, guys? Savashon, what do you want us to do then? Tell me. What should we do?
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with your principle, right? So couldn't give a fuck. I don't agree with your principle.
But if you were Levy out, what would you do?
Let me know. I want to challenge you on this notion for a split second, right? At what point do you think that you're just maybe in the minority, not because you don't get enough action from people like Saba, and that I'm the problem because I don't see it. Maybe, just maybe, the vast majority of Tottenham Hotspur fans are actually fucking happy that we won the Europa League. We're actually a little bit, I don't know, capable of looking outside of the fucking little ecosystem that you guys spend your time in. And these people are conscientious of the reality of where it is that we are in the pecking order. And that maybe, just maybe, that what Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, and fucking Manchester United have done and will continue to do, it just maybe sets a baseline and a benchmark. And maybe, just maybe, 97% of the fan base that didn't protest when you guys got your best ever numbers, maybe they're just not as angry as you are, because maybe they just don't agree that everything isn't Daniel Levy's fucking problem. Maybe there's other things that relate to why Tottenham Hotspur are not as successful as you want to be. Has it ever crossed your mind that maybe your opinion is not shared by the vast majority of Tottenham Hotspur fans around the world? Has that ever crossed your mind?
I don't think
I 100% agree. The protest is the minority and the numbers prove it. I said that. The protest, the appetite to protest.
Stop blaming Saba for not agreeing with you. How about just recognize?
I didn't blame Saba for not agreeing with me. You're making up narratives. I never blamed him for not agreeing with you.
Yes, you did. You called him a
joker. You are a joker because. But the reason I called him for a joker isn't what you just said. Right? The reality is this.
Maybe, just maybe, of the 15 million Tottenham fans that exist, maybe only 1 million of them. And on the online space, there's a disproportionate amount of people that are Levy out. Maybe the rest of the people in the world don't think the way you think.
Why over the last 2 years has every YouTube channel discussed Levy out then? Why?
Because it's
so irrelevant. Why, Sean? If it's so irrelevant,
so why is it? If you want to get really, if you want to, hang on a second, mate. You just asked one. I'll answer it. Right?
I didn't answer your question though. Right? Why is it then that Levy out and Levy is such a massive talking point all the time? Why is that then, if it's such a tiny minority view of the fan base?
Okay, so why is it then? Why is it that my channel, not to make it personal, but why is it that my channel has grown so much when I don't talk about it in the same vein that you do?
Because you need to have two sides of every argument. Which
is what I provide if you watch my content.
I never said you don't. I literally just said you provide the other side of the argument. I told you you're Levy in. I said that to you 10 minutes ago.
Who said I'm not Levy in? I'm more than happy for that guy to leave.
You are the most defensive. You are the most defensive of Levy of any YouTuber.
Only because I happen to listen to you and people like Lubo, who spend all day long turning everything into a reason to bash.
Don't turn everything into Levy.
Yes, you do. Yes, you fucking do, and so does Lubo.
The topic is about the protest, Sean.
This one is.
So this is why we're talking about it.
This particular topic is, mate. This particular topic is, but I spend every day on the chat with Lubo. Not so much with you still, but I go on to Saba's chat all day, every day, and I'm always sharing the same ocky with Lubo. And Lubo turns everything. It doesn't matter. If someone trips over the fucking paving slab on the way to the stadium and they break their kneecap,
you don't want it to be a big talking point. That's the thing. You don't want it to be a big talking point.
I talk about Levy more than you do, probably, mate.
I doubt that. Come on. I doubt that.
Well, maybe in relativism, not, but in terms of like, is there minutes on the stream?
Let me ask you and Saba a question, right? Let me ask you and Saba a question. if fans, and there are so many, I think it's a little bit disingenuous to suggest there's not more than just 2,000 that have got serious questions about this ownership, or they're just fed up. Not all will protest. Not everyone's got it in them to protest, right? Salva's fed up. He admitted it tonight. He goes, I want them out. I want change, right? What do you want us to do then? What action shall we take then? What should we do?
I didn't say you shouldn't
No,
protest.
I'm asking the question, Sava. No, I'm asking what should we do? What should we, instead of protesting, guys? How can we force some kind of
listen before you decided to start this segment by calling me a joker, right? If you actually listen to what I said,
you're a joker for belittling the protest when you're promoting that you want Levy out in videos. That's why I said it.
So I'm a joker because I don't believe in protests. Cool. So,
no, in belittling them when they're trying to when they want change.
Again, did you see my video I did today?
No.
Right.
I've seen all your
so I've done a video.
I've seen your other video. What? Sav, I've seen your other videos though.
So I've done a video today where I'm talking about the protests and saying fair play to anyone that wants to go to them. Fair play. Good luck. Good. Knock yourselves out. Right. So no, I haven't belittled them. Right.
So you have many a time, maybe not today, but you have. You're in denial, man. You have.
In denial, mate. This is coming from the biggest flip flop in the community. I don't know if we're talking about
change
denial.
The subject. I don't mind, but on Levy, you have made many videos. Levy, come on, show ambition. Yes. What are we doing here? Right, but yet the protesters don't want the same as you. You belittle them because you won't admit it, man. It's true, Sava. That's why I said it.
But still, it's not true. Still, I don't belittle them. I think they're futile, right? I think they're futile. If anyone wants to go and do it, knock yourselves out. I've not told anyone to tell me who I've told to not go and protest.
I watched you the other day doing a show with Lubo where Lubo wanted to talk about the protest. You went, no, we're not doing that on this channel. No, we're not talking about protesting. It doesn't work. And then you've belittled it. You've just shut it down. And now you're telling me today, knock yourselves out. Go to the protest. That's not what you said last week.
That's not belittling it. I don't want every single thing on my channel to be about that, right?
Okay, that's not every single thing though. That's an. You asked me for an example. I literally saw you do it last week. So
you know what?
What I'm saying to you is, yeah, go on.
Go on. Fucking hell, this is hard work tonight. This is hard work. I love this. I'm not the right type of Enoch and Levy out. I could throw at you guys. You guys fund the bloke, right? You're the wrong type of Enoch and Levy out for me because you pay him, right?
100%. 100%.
Now, I don't believe. Hang on. I don't believe that still is my point. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I don't believe that. But I could do that all day long. I could say to all these people that say to me, I don't go, I don't pay him. I had enough and stopped paying him, right? You lot have had enough, but still pay him. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong, but let me talk. It goes to show, right? It goes to show that there are different ways of doing this, right? Different ways of doing this. You lot still think it's okay to pay the bloke you absolutely hate. I don't want to pay the bloke that I hate the way he runs this club. But for me, I've said this many a time. People don't listen, right? I think it's all too late, right? Now, still, we didn't know each other at this point. But back in the day, I mean, I haven't been on X for about 6 years. But back in the day, even before that, 10 years ago, right? People like me and you were saying something should have been done before the stadium got built. Before, and 99%, I'm making this number up, 99% of the fan base all lost their minds, didn't they? They all wet their pants. Just wait and see what we become when the step, blah, blah, blah. People like me and you were going, it won't change anything, right? And I was saying then, this was 8-9 years ago. I was saying then still, right? This is before we knew each other, but knew who each other were. I was saying then, if this gets built, it will be too late. I was saying then, if this gets built, it will be too late. They would have built a behemoth. Everything I said has come true, and I stand by it. I think it's too late. I've told everyone that will listen, they have got a date in mind. I actually think, for what it's worth, I think that date is coming, by the way. I genuinely think that date is coming, or they've got a number in their head. Let's just assume for 1 second it's 3.5 billion, just for the sake of the argument. If they get that bid, I've got no doubt they're going to sell. Right? I think they're going to sell very soon anyway. That's why I don't think it matters in my mind. I think they're going to sell. And that's how Lubo started. Lubo started by going, I think they're selling soon anyway. So my answer was, then why are you protesting? If you think they're selling up, don't worry about it. Let it ride out. We'll get some new owners in.
Can I, Phil, before you come on, Phil, can I just say, because
just said something to me.
Lubo hasn't said a word in, I don't know, about 3 words fewer than I have. Go on, Lubo.
I'm not watching Corey. I am concentrating and I'm listening to everything that everybody's saying. Because when you're involved in the conversation, these guys are far more involved in this discussion than I am tonight, which is fine. We all get our moments during each episode, and I'm sure I will have mine in episodes to come. But I basically said my piece in terms of where I think ENIC are. I think they are on the way to selling, and I do think that although Sav says that protesting in isolation is not going to push them out, 100% agree. But if you're on the way and then people are protesting and other people who are maybe sponsoring and putting money into the club are looking at it and thinking, you know, this isn't perfect, is it? This isn't what we are signing up for. Then I do think that in its way it helps. In a small way, it all contributes. And if whatever little bits, whatever little small contribution can be made by protests towards ENIC selling, then I'm all for it. Is it the right time this Saturday? I don't know. I'm giving it a lot of thought, actually.
Do you think it's the right time, Lubo? Can I ask you from a football point of view, forget for 1 minute, forget business, forget owners. Surely the first game of the season, you want some feel-good factor in and around. I remember when I used to go every week, that buzz, the first game of the season buzz was always brilliant. Isn't it going to kill that a little bit when all kids go in and their parents go in and just going to see people protesting on game one after the last proper game we played was winning a trophy? Is that the right look, Lubo?
You got a point. Earlier
on, Lubo, you basically told me that any time's the right time.
Guys, Lubo, do you care about those people? You don't protest because you think about what other people think. You protest because of what you think.
Correct. I also
you're just literally taking the opportunity to do it because any time is the right time.
No,
that's how you feel. Lubo, you said so earlier on Sav's channel, mate.
I explained why we're protesting.
Hang on,
Lubo, finish. Sorry.
I think providing the protests are outside and not inside. Protest outside the ground, and I've said this. Get behind the team inside. Where I fight against myself in that respect, and people will say, "Oh, you're flip-flopping," is that what Levy doesn't like is when you've got thousands behind the goal singing "We want Levy out." I just want these guys out. I have said a lot. I'm a little bit tall at the moment because I see a slight change. And the slight change I saw was, and I said on the channel, I'm not going to go against what I said a few weeks ago, was that I genuinely believe that Vinay joining has made a difference because we were prepared to buy Kudus and Gibbs White and spend nearly 120 million. Would have been 120 million. With
fucking hell. We're going back to
3
that.
days. Hang on, hear me out. I said, no, I said this a few weeks ago when it looks like Gibbs White was across the board, across the line. We have never, ever spent 120 million, Sean, in 3 days. Ever.
And at the time you said it was Vinay. Then when it didn't happen, it was back on Levy. Come on, mate. It's shamelessness. It's shameless.
Yeah, I'm as shameless as you are with your content at protests. But listen, I'm allowed to change my mind. Am I allowed to change my mind?
So who is it that's running? Who is it that's running the show? Just quickly, just very fucking quickly, right? Because I've had enough of this, right? Like Saba, Stel, and Lubo, you haven't said a word. But Savile and Stell have taken up 90%. And every time I fucking chime in for a split second of the word, the comment section is like, Sean, you've had enough. I haven't said, I've had like 3% of the airtime tonight. And every time I say anything, I'm accused of interrupting and talking too much. It's outrageous. And by the way, I don't care. I don't care what you think. Lubo, like, mate, you are shameless in the way that you are allocating accountability for when something good happens, it's Vinay. When something bad happens, it's Levy. Yes, you can be shameless, but you have to be consistent. I've been consistent. I'll always document the protest, not because I have an agenda, but because it's content. It's a different thing.
Okay, I was told Vinay is running the football side and Levy's doing a lot less on the. He's been pushed to one side and he's concentrating on non-footballing. Then you hear the interviews, and he's very much involved. So I'm allowed to look at something objectively and think maybe what I've been told was wrong. Maybe that's meant that what I've reacted to was wrong. And
okay, so if we sign Savinho, Savinho.
Oh, it's got to be Vinay, hasn't it?
It's Vinay, but fair enough. I just want to make sure. Just want to make sure that I was entirely clear who it is that gets it. Okay, fine. So we're good. We're good. Carry
if
on.
they have a good if they have a really good transfer window,
it's on
I must tell
Vinay.
you something, Sean. I must tell you something. I would love for Levy ultimately for our club to be so successful that Levy became an iconic chairman, because then I've got everything I want. I've got my major passion outside of my family that I love and have been going constantly that are successful, and that's all I want.
Yeah, congratulations, but you will never get there because of the things that you don't care about, which are considerations of things outside of Tottenham Hotspur. Every time I bring up those things, you say, I don't care about Chelsea. I don't care about Liverpool. I don't care about United. I don't care about Arsenal. And I don't care about City. Until they do something that gives you the opportunity to care about them, because it supplements your opinion.
Sean, if we're doing our best, then I'm worried about how other clubs are doing, because hang on a second, we're doing our optimum and we're still getting beaten. So what's going wrong here? But we're not even doing our best. So we've got to look inside before
you bring up Liverpool when you bring up Liverpool as a talking point, that when you do care about them, as soon as I bring up any of those things and the fact that outside of football, you say I don't care about them, they're not important. You are so 100% entrenched in your opinion, as are you, Stel, as are you, that you think that I'm the opposite to you. You think I'm Levy in because if I'm not like you, if it's like the left wing.
No, it's the way you defend him. It's the energy. That's why.
No, I defend against reality. I defend against common sense.
Your
I defend
reality.
against logic and consistency.
Your reality.
Yeah, and your reality is things like that the fan base feels the way you do. They don't.
No, they don't
feel the way that you do.
No, it's split.
To what percentage do you think?
I've got no idea, Sean, because the online fan's different to the
100% fan.
So I don't know. So I don't know.
Well, you can get an opinion from the greatest ever protest that you've ever managed to organise, and it was about 2% of the match-going fans.
Well, when Nuno lost 3-0 to Man United, I'd say 2/3 of that stadium were chanting, "We want Levy out."
2/3. How do you know that? Where'd you come to that conclusion?
Because I was sitting.
Because you could hear the chants. Yeah.
Going by the volume. Yeah. You're going to laugh at anything I say because that's how you try and win the argument. What's your
I can win the argument. I can win the argument in facts if you want to, mate.
I just wanted to say one thing, right? Because I wanted to answer Sal's question, right? First of all, to the person in the chat saying, "Oh, Stel, you're a joke. You buy merch." As a season ticket holder, we get a voucher at the start of every season. That voucher can only be spent in the Spurs shop. So there you go. I'm going to spend the voucher that I've already paid for, right? So number two, Saba said, but you guys go to the games, right? I hear this argument often. Why should I leave because of them? I want them to leave, right? If I give up my season ticket, then I can't pass it on to my brother, and he can't pass it on to his younger son when he grows up. I want to keep it in the family because I know how hard they are to get hold of. I will be here longer than Levy and Ian. I hope so. I will still be here at Tottenham. They might not. So I'm going to keep that season ticket. And number two, if you can guarantee me not you, Sav, but any Spurs fan out there, because quite a few of them agreed with your point. If you can guarantee,
it wasn't my point. That wasn't my
your
point.
question. Sorry, your question. Right?
Look, I was playing devil's advocate. I don't believe this myself. I said that. I don't believe this.
Okay, Sava never said it, but it's something that's been said by others. In the chat, they were saying it. So sorry, Sava, not directed at you.
That's all.
People, if you can guarantee me that giving my ticket away will not go to a Levy fan who's going to sit there and accept this every single season, where I protest in that stadium, I start Levy out chants. When it goes south, I get involved. If you can guarantee that someone like me will take it, I'll give it to them. But you can't. So I've got many reasons for keeping my season ticket. I'm not going to give up on supporting my team the way I want because he's here. I want him gone, not me. And I think that's something that a lot of Spurs fans who aren't Levy out don't understand. I still love the club. I'm Spurs through and through. Listen, we were shit last year. I wanted Ange out last year. But when they needed our full backing, I was in Bilbao. I was there for it, man. I backed them. So it's a difficult one. I get why people say it, by the way. I do get, but come on, you give him money. What do you want me to do? I don't want to give up my season ticket. It's my club. What am I supposed to do?
I understand.
By the way, I've got no issue with Sav not going, by the way. I've said to Sav in the past that not going to games is a form of protesting, a boycott, right? I'm all for that. I've never belittled it. I've always said, if you're going to boycott games, fair play to you. That's your way of doing it.
Guys, should we we can have the 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is 2 hours past. Unless anyone wants to really take on and more of this. No. And we do have one final segment, which is to go to the PSG. Or we can we'll talk about it briefly at the end for 5 minutes. Does anyone else have any more to say about
let's move to that. Nothing's going to get sorted. We're not going to agree. I don't think they work. These two think they work. I'm not Levy out because I don't think it works, and I belittle the protests.
Yeah. I'm not Levy.
I'm a joker. I think we're pretty much covered.
All right, cool. I'm not leaving in either way. I'm happy for someone else to move on. I just don't agree with the rhetoric that's attached to him. Anyway, guys, Rain Man, big up to you, Rain Man. He said, guys, please let some pro-anti-Levy opinions from each other go and focus on the issues at hand. Maybe do a dedicated show on everything Levy. I think that every show we do, my man, is about Levy at the moment. It's insane. But thank you very much for the super chat. Rain Man, good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you very much. Next up is Terry O'Shea. Sav, you now call protesting a waste of time, but you once urged everyone to unite and protest. Were you wrong then, or was that video for fucking
what I love, first of all, Terry's very wrong, right? Second of all, I love this notion that if you're a YouTuber, right, everything is a video for business. Well, essentially, everything is a video for business when it's your business. Second of all, Terry, I'll call you out here for this. When have you ever known me be backwards in coming forwards? When have you ever known me go on stream and say something I don't believe? Right? Second of all, if you actually go back and watch that video, I said there's many different forms of what we can do if we come together. Can we write to the club? Can we get a committee together? I said there's many things. I don't think the outright protest works, but I didn't say nothing could work. So this whole, was that a video for business? I'm sorry. I don't what I love. Sorry, I've got a bee in my bonnet about this fucking nonsense. I'll call him out. I've got a bee in my bonnet. I love it. When you're a small YouTuber, right? No one says this shit. I've noticed when you're a small YouTuber and you have your opinion, it's just your opinion. When you get a bit bigger, and bearing in mind, I'm not even a big YouTuber, right? As you get bigger, everything you say is for effect. Let me ask you guys honestly, have you guys ever known me mix my words, change my opinions just because I've got more subscribers? Really?
No, you've been the same.
Do I really change anything about who I am, about how I come across? This notion, sorry, Terry, keep your $5. I'll send it back to you. What a load of shit. See you later.
Can I just say, Terry, big up because he goes to all the protests, Terry. So for protesting, big up to you. He's always there.
So I've never met Terry once.
Terry played in the stadium.
I don't know.
Yeah. I've been to all the protests, haven't I, Lubo? Have I ever met Terry?
I think I was introduced to Terry. Evening, Terry. I'm sure you have, Sean. But if you haven't, and we're going down there Saturday, if Terry, Terry, if you're down there, come and say hello. Sean and I will we'll have a chat. Maybe we'll do an interview.
What is wrong with YouTube viewers? You all watch us and then have a problem with us monetizing. Like it blows my brain.
Listen, on the percentage of like hatred that's come through the chat tonight, I feel like I've barely spoken. Maybe I've spoken more than I think I have, but I feel like I've barely spoken, and yet I feel like I've got about 95% of the hate. I'm cool with it, buddy, because you know what?
I'm not. Sean, you're not listening. This isn't about the hate.
You'll never ignore me, you know?
It's this notion that everything you do is a video to monetize. Well, when it's your business, yes, but that doesn't mean I change my... You know what? Changing my opinion to monetize would be if I suddenly right now started making videos about how Matisse Tell fixes Tottenham, right? Would suddenly be if I'm doing videos about how I think Archie Gray is the future captain of Spurs. Like all that sort of nonsense, right? I don't do any of that. I speak from the heart. I say it as it is. And if people don't like it, Terry, why are you watching YouTube? By the way, talking about monetizing, you're paying to have this read out. You're monetizing us.
Can I defend Sabra a little bit here? I want to defend him a little bit here, right?
Ridiculous.
I want to defend Sabra a little bit here, right? Let me defend him a little bit. I just want to defend him a little bit here. Sava, along with every other YouTuber, the content we make, we get paid. Not as much as you lot think, by the way. So every YouTuber puts out content which will generate money. That's number one. Every content creator. Number two, Sava has chosen to make this his job. So he's made that very clear. This is his job. So he's going to make lots and lots and lots of content. Whether you like it or not, each their own. So this is his chosen career. So, and a lot of YouTubers, by the way, are just like that as well. So I just want to make that clear. That's it. Yeah.
I just find it very weird. I find it very weird.
Here's an example. Sab, just so you know, yeah. Here's one. I feel like I've spoken about 5% tonight. Isn't Sean the host? Can't you stop him from going on one of these repetitive rants because he reads too many comments? What are we talking about? What are we doing here? I don't care. Listen, I don't give a flying fuck what the people in the comments say, Sav. Like these people are like
no. I know.
Opinions are irrelevant to me.
I just find this whole monetization thing. It's like, well, you lot all watch YouTube and then complain that you complain that us people that put on free shows for you, it's free. YouTube is free, and then you complain that we make money. It just I'm just baffled, man. Yeah. I'm just baffled.
We'll have this chat backstage. Terry again back in. Big up to you, Terry. Sav, you're now protesting. You now call protesting a waste of time, but you once have I just on this one or not?
Yeah,
sorry, my bad. Sorry. He's coming back in with another one. Don't care if people don't like my opinion, but people are trying their best.
Just done that one as well.
Club. I have done this one. I haven't said this one.
You just done it. Yeah, you just done that one.
I haven't actually called this one out. It was up when Sava was saying his thing.
That's the one Sava replied to just now, Sean.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't actually read it out. Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate you. Rob Welsh, two good signings, and only 50 people show up to protest. 100%. That's what I think. 100%. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you, mate. This is hard work tonight. Lubo, her up. Disagree with him, but love Lubo and his Zen ways. You go, Lubo. There's some sort of value in sitting back and letting other people argue, apparently. Appreciate you. He's come back in. Agenda-driven narratives thrive on polarization. Thank you very much, mate. I completely agree with that. 1,000,000%. But that's part of the game. And Dermatron is in the house. Question, as an Irish Spurs fan and being in the middle with Levy, I get one game a year. Am I wrong? Oh, he goes to one game a year. Am I wrong not to go to the protest? I do agree with Sean Stabber. He's saying basically... I think he means Sean and Oh, he agrees with both of us. Yeah, so he's basically saying, is he wrong to go to the protest if he feels that way, and then when he comes over, there happens to be a protest going on?
Sean, he says he's being in the middle with Levy, so he's neither in nor out, is he? So I wouldn't expect him to protest if he's
like Lange. Magnolia, as Johnny calls him.
Magnolia, 100%, 100%. You do watch our content. You do watch our content still. I appreciate
I
that.
told you
Thank
I
you,
did.
Dermotron. I know you did. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate you, mate. Yeah, listen, you are not wrong, mate. No, neither is anybody else that wants to go to a protest. I just challenge the value of it and the reasons for it. I think that this, on the first game of the season, is the last thing that I think that Tottenham Hotspur need. But everyone is entitled to their own, and I am certainly a free speech advocate. Thank you very much, Dermotron. Guys, we've been going for 2 hours and 54 minutes. We've got one. We'll keep it quick. Tottenham versus PSG. Del, I'll start with you. What's going to happen, buddy? What's going to happen?
I think if I had to put money on it, PSG are going to win. What the score is, God knows. Can Spurs win it? Yes, we can. Anything's possible. If we somehow score in the first 5 minutes, then sit back and defend for our lives, and PSG just can't get the ball in the back of the net, we win the cup. I think if PSG take the lead, I think we've lost. I don't see how we get back in the game with the current squad we've got. I'd like to see Frank be a bit more adventurous in the game and not so pragmatic. But if he goes pragmatic, I understand it as well. I personally would just like him to try and be a bit more adventurous with it. How would be an interesting one, because he'd have to take a risk with that midfield in terms of playing it a bit further up. But for me, I think PSG are favourites. They're most probably going to win it. I don't think Spurs fans will be in tears if we lose it. If we get absolutely tonked, I'm talking a 6-7-0 or something, or even a 5-0, I think you're going to see a lot of angry, upset, disappointed fans, and it's going to be Levy, transfers are going to be the conversation. If we lose 2-0, 3-1, I think fans will say, do you know what? Not too bad. But as a betting man, I think PSG win it, but never say never. Never say never.
Sav?
Yeah, I've got no hope for this game at all. I don't know what to say about it. I don't see any forwards or any creativity anywhere in the team. I'm not sure what we're meant to do tomorrow night, and this is the best team in Europe. I think, listen, if we get any sort of result out of this, like a draw or a 1-0 win, it would be absolutely amazing. But this is PSG. We're about to see tomorrow. We're about to see top footballers. We're about to see our midfield dominated completely by a top midfield, and their forward line is absolutely ridiculous. So, listen, I just think tomorrow's an exercise in keeping the score down. I know that sounds really negative, but we've got no playmaker. Richie's our striker. I don't know where we're meant to hurt them. I don't. Like people are saying earlier, well, if Chelsea could do it, I'm like, yeah, but Chelsea had like Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez in the midfield with Cole Palmer pulling strings. You know, it's a very different scenario. So look, I just think keep it to a minimum. Yeah, Donnarumma's not playing. Yeah, Neves isn't playing. But that just means they bring in, I mean, they've got that new guy, haven't they? Is it Chevalier in goal? They've just bought the goalkeeper. And in midfield, they can bring in people like, what's his name? Zainoueri or however you say his name. Yeah, I think this is going to be a real difficult night on Wednesday. A really difficult night.
Score prediction, Fab?
I think if we get away with 2-0, I think we'll be lucky.
Okay, now.
Guys, can I ask you?
I don't know where we're going to. I don't know where goals are going to come from. We've got no attack. We've got
Sam,
no
can I ask you
attack.
something quickly? Can I ask something? Right, you know, did you watch the Chelsea PSG game where Chelsea won that World Club Cup thing? Right. Chelsea actually went at that defense, and that defense looked a little bit shaky. Okay, pre-season, maybe not everyone's quite at it, but do you not think if we're a bit more adventurous, maybe we can ask a few questions about defense?
With what players?
I know that's the question. Well, I think it would need a formation change to force it.
Well,
but yeah,
Chelsea went at that defence with Cole Palmer, João Pedro,
I agree.
Pedro Neto. On the other side, I can't even think who they are. Like Chelsea have got magicians that can open the door right now. And this is the problem for the people that say it doesn't matter. The season hasn't, the window hasn't ended. We're going into the season with these forwards and no playmaker. It's a real issue for me. And no striker. If we had a striker still, who not the greatest striker in the world, but could hold the ball up at least. You know what I mean? Like one of those we could have one of them that you could just get it up to. So, right, let's try and get some bodies around it. Anytime we put the ball up to Richie, it's going to bounce back, isn't it? So, honestly, I think this is going to be a
back,
real...
though, right?
Huh?
Solanke's back.
Is he match fit?
I don't even think his hold-up play is great, but yeah, sure. He won't be fit, will he? He's not played for... When did he last play a game of football?
Did he get injured in the... Was it the Reading?
So he's played 45 minutes in 3 months.
Yeah.
Sava, I think what I'm saying is, for example, if we went into a 5-3-2,
we're never going to do a back five. We've been practicing with the back four the entire preseason.
Yeah, but just to win this one game, what I'm just saying, if we got the fullbacks attacking up the flanks more, right, not inverting wide more, play Kudos on the right.
We haven't seen the second of it.
No, I'm just giving an example of how we could potentially set up more attacking. Yeah, the players aren't there, we all agree, but could we set up in a more attacking fashion to at least try and ask some questions? I think we can. Whether we win or not, I don't think it changes the outcome, but I think we can ask a few more questions.
I can't imagine for the life of me that we're going to play in the back three for the first time in the Supercup final.
Well, just to win it.
Just to win it. We're not.
Well, to try, to at least try, rather than just be,
Yeah, but we haven't practiced it once in our pre-season.
Isn't this what managers do in finals? Just set up in a way that can win the game? No,
no, I don't think. Well, maybe
because otherwise we've all accepted we're losing.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it works when you're playing a really crap Man United. This is the best team in Europe. This is. I feel like like when people lost their minds about Bayern Munich. This is Bayern Munich, and I mean Spurs. I'm surprised, guys, that we decided that in our pre-season it was going to be Arsenal, followed by Newcastle, followed by Bayern, PSG, and then Burnley sandwiched in between City. I mean, it's not exactly been a nice start for Thomas Frank, has it? He's playing top team after top team after top team, and we haven't got the players in ready. So I agree. I think what Frank's very good at is in-game changes, changing formation in game. But even to change formations in game, you've got to have you've got to have some players. I mean, if we play 4-4-2, think about it, guys. If you play 4-4-2, that midfield three of PSG will run rings around a two-man midfield. They will run rings around it.
You'd have to play one of those strikers as a hybrid attacking mid, though, for it to work, I think.
Yeah, I just think we're going to have to stink this out as best as we can. So look, guys, I really, really want to go into this saying, God, look at our signings. Yeah, this is really exciting. But they've left him going into the PSG game and the Burnley game with Richarlison up front, Papa Sarr as a number 10, and Taylor Rodeber as a left winger, or Johnson. It's yeah, PSG must be rubbing their hands. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I can't see it.
Lubo, what are you saying, mate?
Oh, got a long night Wednesday. A long night.
You're going. You lunatic. You fucking nutter.
I don't see the team changing from the starting 11 from last Thursday. I think he'll stay with that. Bayern absolutely tore us to pieces. There won't be the changes second half that there were. But look what PSG did to every team they played virtually last season. Once they got going towards the back end of the group stages, 2-0, 3-0. If we get to 3-0, that will be a massive, massive result. It'll also be a miracle because we can't hold the ball up front. It's going to come back. I think we need superhuman performances from the back five, maybe the back seven. It's we're just going to get battered. For me, it's a 5-1 defeat.
Fucking hell!
Why are you going?
I want to slip my fucking wrists at the moment. I genuinely can't believe it. It's so unbelievably pessimistic. Like
I think Sean.
How do we score? Sean, tell me how we possibly hurt this PSG team.
Score?
I can't convince you if you think that Matisse Tell is a lead balloon, if you think that Odegaard is a leg balloon, if you think that Richarlison is a lead balloon, if you think that Solanke, there's no point in me having the conversation. I'm not
they've
saying
not done anything to prove otherwise, have they? They've not. They don't score goals or assists. So I'm asking you, where's it coming from?
But those guys didn't do those things last season, but we managed to get to the Europa League Cup final and we ended up winning it.
Yeah,
So,
because you're not playing PSG. Do you know what I mean? You don't play PSG in the Europa.
PSG haven't even. Are they a PSG even? I'm not sitting here making the acclamation that I think we're going to win necessarily, but it's just the unbelievable pessimism is a little bit exhausting. But it is what it is. It's fair enough.
Is it pessimism or is it realism, Sean? We've not strengthened.
We'll find out. We'll find out on Wednesday. We'll find out.
Sure, but
we got battered 4-0 by Bayern Munich, Sean.
Surely, when you're looking at it, right, and you look at 91 goals have been removed from. Solanke won't play. I can't believe he'll play. This team is 91 goals down on last year, and you are now left with all the players that no matter. Well, Kulusevski, Solanke, Son, and Madison.
91 GA or goal? GA.
GA. Goal, whatever you want to say.
That's ridiculous because there's so many interactions between those two that number is just like a
that's not ridiculous. Between them, that's the amount of assists and goals.
We didn't score 91 goals last year, so like I don't know where you like if we're 91 goals in last season, then you're essentially like saying that we're negative goals by losing those 4 players.
You fully well know what I mean. Everyone knows what it means, right? The goals and assists between those 4 players, right, is 91, right? Now, the players that we're all saying, please get Eze because we haven't got a playmaker. Please get Savinho because we haven't got a left winger. Please get this player because we haven't got this. They're going to be the players playing tomorrow night, Wednesday night. So, listen, if I'm wrong, fine. But what I saw against Arsenal, what I saw against Newcastle, what I saw against Bayern Munich is exactly what I would expect from these forward lines. They
just
can't
out
hold the ball.
Just out of curiosity, Sav, what was it that Lubo said 5-1 just now? Or did you say 3-0? Did you say 3-0?
I think we'll do well to keep it at 2-0.
And Stel, you said
3-4-0.
Okay. What did you say for the Arsenal game in pre-season? Just out of curiosity.
3-1 Arsenal.
3-0.
Sav, what did you give?
I don't think I did, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure you said we were going to get slammed. And Lubo, what did you say?
Let's not just make that. I didn't say we're going to get slammed by Arsenal. I'm not saying we're going to get.
So
I definitely didn't say we're going to get slammed.
Well, not those words specifically, but you would have given a prediction, and
I can't even remember what I said for the Arsenal game. But the difference is, this isn't Arsenal again. This is PSG. This is, this is. Look. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But at the moment, I've not heard a counter argument as to how we score goals and get assists. That's what I'm asking.
It's like the same way that anyone we just like utilizing the same skill set that we do, right? Get down the byline, bang it in, Brennan Johnson back post. The exact same argument was used by people like Stel, people like yourself, throughout the entirety of the Europa Champions League. I know it's PSG. I'm not sitting here pretending like we're going to be favourites, but we're obviously not. We're 8-1 dogs on the day. But like, I don't know. To me, I like to lean into the positives and think that we've got a chance.
But when you say that, I don't think it's about leaning into the positive or negative. If we take off our Spurs hat and I look at these two teams that are going to play, I don't think it's negative to say, right, okay, I'm worried about where our goals and assists going to come from. You've got no ball playing midfielder in the team, no playmaker in the team, right? The only player of any note who's comfortable on the ball is Kudus, who everyone keeps doubling up on. You've got a striker who can't hold the ball up to save his life. Brennan Johnson does the square root of absolutely nothing on the left-hand side. I don't know where that's. I don't know why that's negative of me to ask where it's coming from.
I think you're looking at a dead ball, maybe a 25-yarder from Porro.
Sure.
That's where we're going to score from. Maybe a Porro cross that Richie gets on the end of, because Porro puts in a fabulous ball, and sooner or later Richie's going to score. So
I agree, Lubo. I agree with you, mate. I agree with you.
How are we going to hold these guys back? Bayern Munich battered us, and with the same team, PSG a different level to Bayern. I mean,
this
is very early on, Sean. This is very early on in the Frank.
100%. 100%.
very early on. It's just in.
This is why you don't wait till the last few weeks of the window to do your business, because you're not ready.
Right.
You're not. We're not ready. We're not ready.
Correct. But talking about tomorrow's game, this is the worst possible time because we're not even prepared for the Premier League, let alone PSG.
Yeah, I don't care as much about that game, Lubo. If I'm brutally honest, the game on Wednesday night, right, for me doesn't set any tone for the season. If I'm brutally honest, right now, I care about, are we going to get any players in ready for Burnley? Because that has to be 3 points. Winning the Super Cup is lovely, but if we don't, it doesn't dictate the season for me. So right now, what I'm more worried about than PSG is, are we bringing in any footballers between Monday and Saturday that can play in the Premier League? That's what I'm worried about. And that's why I've never subscribed to this notion. And I think Stella agrees with me on this. This is why I've never subscribed to this notion that don't worry, the window's not shut, don't panic, because the season starts before the window shuts. So be ready. Be ready. If an opportunity comes about, I'm here for it. If in the last 2 weeks of the window you go, God, he's available, go and get him. But to be this unprepared by the 11th or 13th of August is absolutely criminal. It is criminal to be going in to a UEFA Super Cup with these players in the forward areas.
Do you know? That's why I said I don't think Lange will be here in a month's time.
Yeah, at the moment, I don't think he will be unless he pulls. He's got to pull. Listen, as I said, the Savinhos, the Ezes, those types, if they go and pull that out the bag, that's how they save the transfer window, right? If we go in the next couple of weeks and we're buying more 20-year-old kids that have got no experience and hitting hopes, then it's going to be a bloody long season. I don't think I've changed my mind on that all the way through the summer. I just can't believe we're sitting here on the 11th of August with no playmaker, no ball playing midfielder, no good left wingers, and no good strikers. I would say I'm baffled, but
do you know one thing?
Okay.
Do you know one thing? If we get battered, you sure bet it's going to ramp up more people to consider going to the protest. If we win the Super Cup, right? If we win it though, I really, really think that protest can't go ahead because they're going to present that trophy on Saturday, and I don't see how you protest.
If they cancel the protest, they will look ridiculous. Even more ridiculous.
I agree, Sean. I don't disagree with that.
You can't chop and change your motivations based on the momentum in the moment. Otherwise, you don't look like you are sincere. You look like you're an opportunist. And I think
you have to plan the protest in advance. That's the risk you take, though, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. It's the risk you take.
When was this protest planned? Yesterday or today? It's ludicrous. Anyway, guys, listen, we've been going for 3 hours and 11 minutes. Wonderful show. I hope you will all agree. A couple of last super chats from Justin Redding saying he appreciates the chat. I'm not sure if he's talking about you lot over there or over this way. Or whether he's saying about our chat, either way. But thank you very much, Justin. And Matty K, your boy, Sava, he says, big up Johnson. Big up Johnson, striker, Kudus right wing, Odebert left wing for PSG. There you go. We'll find out. We'll find out. Listen, I'm not surprised that the tone is basically that we're all going to get thumped. It just depends by how many. I like to sort of dabble with the world of potential, potential upsides. So we shall see. Guys, massive thank you to everybody that's been a part of the show tonight. There's been, give or take 1,700 people the entire stream. We got up to 1,900 people, and I think it's a record for the stream. So thank you very much for everybody. Sava, Lubo, Stelios, anything coming up in your world over the next couple of days before we meet again?
I've got a PSG watch along.
Okay. Yeah. Hate along, it sounds like, to be entirely honest. But carry on, yeah.
And
Listen, I hate the way you get realism and negativity mixed up. It's crazy. You say you lean into the positive and haven't given me one answer as to how we beat them. Like I'm it is what it is.
It is. Lubo?
Come and find me in the fan. And anybody watching is going on Wednesday. If you're in the fan zone late Wednesday afternoon, come and find me. Come for a chat. Going to do a few interviews with a few fans. Love to meet you.
I'll be back on Thursday on this channel the day after the Super Cup with the guys, and I'll be dropping videos on the channel every Saturday as of this weekend. So if you want to get another 10 minutes of me every weekend, I'll be there on the Saturday posting a video on the channel.
Thank you so much, everybody, for the super chats, for the attention, and for the patience in the chat. As we went
Just quickly, what's your prediction? What was your prediction for PSG?
7-0 PSG, but that's
no, come on. What was your prediction?
I'm saying 2-1. No, I'm saying 1-1 after pens, and I'm not going to go into extra time. We'll see what happens. How about that?
1-1 after pens.
Oh, sorry. 1-1 after 90 minutes, and I'll see what happens in extra time.
Oh, okay. So draw.
Draw.
That'd be nice.
See what happens.
I'll take it.
Nice. Yeah, I'll take that.
Everybody, we'll see you on Thursday for the next show. Appreciate everyone. Like, subscribe, and comment. And by the way, guys, this is going to be uploaded onto Spotify and onto Apple Pods and Amazon, all that stuff, right after the show. If you are watching this later and you'd rather watch this stuff later in the future via your podcast platforms, that's where you can find us. Appreciate you all. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.